Life becomes heavy without warning. One moment things feel manageable, and the next moment pressure builds from every direction. The mind gets tired. Thoughts race. Small problems feel big. Decisions feel harder than they should. In those moments, it is not strength that disappears, it is control. This audiobook is about taking that control back. Not through force, not through pretending everything is fine, but through steady and realistic mental habits that work when life is uncomfortable. This is for the days when motivation is low, when confidence feels distant, and when the outside world does not slow down for your struggles. The ideas here are simple, grounded, and practical. They are meant to be used in real life, not just understood. You will learn how to steady your thoughts when pressure rises, how to respond instead of react, and how to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. Each chapter builds one layer of mental strength, helping you stay calm, focused, and disciplined during difficult times. Nothing here depends on luck or perfect conditions. Everything depends on daily choices you can control. If you have ever felt overwhelmed, stuck, or mentally drained, stay with this audiobook. What you are about to hear is not about changing the world around you. It is about strengthening the mind that faces it. Chapter 1: Take control of your thoughts to strengthen your mindset. The first and most important step to mastering your life is mastering your mind. The reality is that life will always throw challenges in your path. Difficult situations, unexpected setbacks, and moments of pressure are inevitable. No one can escape them. The difference between a life that feels overwhelming and a life that feels manageable is not circumstance. It is your mind. Every thought you have shapes your perception, your emotions, and your actions. Every choice begins in the mind, and if the mind is weak, the body and spirit will follow. If your thoughts are reactive, scattered, or negative, you will feel like life is constantly controlling you. If your thoughts are deliberate, disciplined, and focused, you will control life's challenges rather than be controlled by them. Understanding this principle is not abstract. It is practical. It is urgent. Your thoughts are the foundation for everything you do. Every habit, every decision, every relationship, and every success is built on what your mind allows you to believe and what it permits you to focus on. Taking control of your thoughts is not about thinking positive all the time. It is about becoming aware of your mental patterns, observing them without judgment, and directing them with intention toward outcomes that improve your life. Begin by observing the nature of your thoughts. Most people move through life on autopilot, allowing their minds to drift from worry to fear to doubt without ever realizing it. Thoughts arrive automatically, often triggered by circumstances, memories, or conversations. A single negative thought can spiral, creating multiple layers of anxiety, frustration, or self-doubt. Awareness is the first action step. Spend a few minutes each day simply noticing what is happening in your mind. Are your thoughts critical or compassionate? Are they focused on what you can control or what you cannot? Are they solution-oriented or problem-focused? Observation without judgment allows you to see patterns that were invisible before. It also creates space to respond instead of react. When you are aware of a thought, you no longer have to be ruled by it. You can examine it, challenge it, and choose how to act. The second step is to recognize the power of choice. Every thought presents a choice. When a stressful situation arises, your mind may instantly react with panic, anger, or despair. Those reactions are habitual. They are the default programming you have lived with for years. But you have the ability to interrupt that habit. Pause. Ask yourself what is actually true in this moment. Ask what is useful. Ask what action will move you forward. This simple practice, pausing and examining a thought before reacting, strengthens the mind and reinforces the habit of conscious thinking. Over time, your mind becomes a tool instead of a battlefield. Instead of being tossed by waves of emotion, you become a calm, decisive observer who can navigate challenges with clarity. Controlling your thoughts also means rejecting mental clutter. The mind cannot focus on everything at once. When you fill it with fear, doubt, criticism, or overthinking, you drain your energy and reduce your ability to act. It is essential to decide what deserves your attention. Start by asking yourself whether a thought is constructive or destructive. Constructive thoughts provide clarity, offer solutions, or prepare you for action. Destructive thoughts create paralysis, worry, or regret. When a destructive thought arises, acknowledge it, label it, and release it. Imagine it as a cloud passing across the sky. Do not chase it. Do not resist it violently. Simply allow it to pass. Replace it with a deliberate thought focused on action, gratitude, or problem solving. The next step is to train your mind to focus on what can be controlled. One of the most common causes of mental overwhelm is focusing on what lies outside your influence. The weather, other people's opinions, or random events are beyond your control. Yet, many people expend endless energy trying to fix or worry about these things. Instead, direct your thoughts toward what you can change. Your effort, your attitude, your actions, and your responses are all within your control. A disciplined mind concentrates on these areas consistently. Even small improvements compound over time and create a sense of mastery that no external circumstance can diminish. This practice builds resilience because your mindset becomes anchored in agency and responsibility, not fear and helplessness. Thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations. They are often distorted by emotion, habit, or external influence. When a negative thought arises, ask whether it is objectively true. Does evidence support it? Is it helpful to dwell on it? What action does it demand? This simple questioning creates space for rational thinking. It prevents the mind from being hijacked by irrational fears or limiting beliefs. Over time, this habit rewires your brain. You become naturally skeptical of self, sabotaging thoughts, and naturally drawn toward thoughts that generate clarity and action. Controlling your thoughts also involves building a practice of positive reinforcement. This does not mean blind optimism. It means deliberately reminding yourself of your strengths, your past successes, and the opportunities available. Write down affirmations grounded in reality. Reflect daily on achievements, even small ones. Rehearse solutions to recurring challenges in your mind. This practice strengthens neural pathways associated with confidence, resilience, and problem solving. Just as muscles grow stronger with repeated exercise, your mind strengthens with repeated intentional thought. Your brain becomes a resource rather than a source of anxiety. Actionable mental exercises are critical in this process. One practical technique is the thought journal. Each day, take 5 to 10 minutes to record your thoughts. Identify which thoughts are positive, neutral, or negative. Note patterns and triggers. Ask yourself which thoughts are productive and which are wasting energy. Then, choose one negative thought and consciously replace it with a constructive alternative. This simple exercise makes mental patterns visible and teaches the mind to self-correct. Another exercise is mental rehearsal. Before facing a challenging situation, visualize yourself responding calmly and effectively. Imagine the conversation, the decisions, and the outcomes you desire. This trains your brain to execute in reality what you have rehearsed internally. It is equally important to cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness is the skill of being fully present in each moment without distraction or judgment. It allows you to notice when thoughts drift into negativity or fear. By practicing mindfulness through meditation, focused breathing, or even short periods of attention during daily activities, you strengthen your capacity to control your mind. Mindfulness also deepens your emotional intelligence. You begin to recognize emotional triggers and respond with intention rather than impulsivity. The environment you create also impacts your thoughts. External influences, whether people, media, or surroundings, constantly shape the mind. If you spend time with negative or critical individuals, your thoughts will naturally shift toward pessimism. If you consume content that triggers fear, doubt, or frustration, and challenges you constructively. Create a physical space that is organized, calm, and free from unnecessary chaos. Every external choice is an internal choice because it either strengthens or weakens your mental discipline. Consistency is the final key principle. One day of strong thinking does not create a disciplined mind. 1 week does not. It is consistent effort over months and years that rewires the brain and establishes a permanent sense of control. Commit to daily practices, observe your thoughts, challenge negativity, focus on what can be controlled, and reinforce constructive thinking. Over time, these small but deliberate actions compound into unshakable mental strength. Your thoughts become habits, and your habits become your identity. When life inevitably becomes hard, you will meet challenges with clarity, composure, and action rather than panic, avoidance, or despair. Applying all of this requires patience. Change does not happen overnight. The mind has been conditioned for years, often in ways that are not helpful. But discipline, awareness, and intentional practice will gradually replace old patterns with new ones. Notice your progress along the way. Celebrate small victories when you successfully shift a negative thought or act deliberately instead of reacting impulsively. Use setbacks as feedback rather than failure. Every moment is an opportunity to practice control over your thoughts. Every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen the mind. Practical daily steps to implement immediately include starting each day with a focused intention. Before engaging in work or conversation, decide how you will respond to stress, how you will approach challenges, and what mindset you want to maintain. During the day, periodically check in with yourself. Notice if your mind has drifted toward fear, worry, or negativity. Acknowledge it, correct it, and redirect focus. Before sleep, review your thoughts and identify patterns that helped or hindered you. This reflection reinforces learning and primes your mind for improvement the next day. The rewards of mastering your thoughts extend far beyond mental clarity. You will notice improved relationships because you respond rather than react. You will notice increased productivity because your focus is sharpened. You will notice resilience in adversity because your mind is not tossed by external circumstances. Life becomes less about surviving and more about deliberate action and purposeful living. The strength of your mind will ripple through every area of your existence, from work to family to personal growth. You will become the person capable of handling challenges without losing yourself. Taking control of your thoughts is not a one-time act. It is a lifelong commitment. Each day presents new challenges, new stressors, and new opportunities for your mind to be tested. By consistently practicing awareness, challenging destructive thoughts, focusing on what can be controlled, reinforcing constructive thinking, and maintaining mindfulness, you develop a mindset that is unshakable even in difficult times. You learn to navigate life with clarity and strength, responding to difficulties with strategy rather than reaction. You learn that power over your mind equals power over your life. Your thoughts are the soil in which the life you desire grows. Neglect them, and weeds of fear, doubt, and distraction will take root. Nurture them deliberately, and your mind will produce clarity, resilience, and success. Every moment spent training your thoughts is a moment invested in your freedom, your confidence, and your ability to handle whatever life presents. The choice to take control belongs to you, and every action you take reinforces your authority over your own mind. The results are tangible: greater calm, better decisions, stronger relationships, and a life that feels aligned with your highest potential. In conclusion, taking control of your thoughts is the foundation for all other aspects of personal growth and mastery. It requires awareness, choice, focus, questioning, positive reinforcement, mindfulness, environmental control, and consistency. Implementing these principles is not complicated, but it does require discipline and persistence. The rewards are profound. A strong mind creates a strong life. Every challenge becomes an opportunity, every setback a lesson, and every day a chance to become more intentional, more resilient, and more empowered. When life becomes hard, the mind that is trained, disciplined, and deliberate will not break. It will guide you forward, keep you steady, and allow you to create a life that is fulfilling, meaningful, and resilient. Taking control of your thoughts is not a task, it is a lifestyle. It is the first and most important investment you can make in yourself. Start now, practice consistently, and watch how your life transforms when your mind becomes your greatest ally rather than your greatest obstacle. Chapter 2a. Develop resilience by facing challenges with consistent daily practice. Resilience is not something we are born with. It is a skill, a habit, and a muscle that must be built through consistent effort. Life will always test your limits, and there will be moments that feel impossible, moments when you are pushed beyond what seems reasonable. Resilience is what allows you to keep moving forward, even when every instinct tells you to stop. It is the inner force that prevents you from surrendering to fear, doubt, or pain. Building this strength is not a single event, it is the result of repeated, deliberate practice applied in your daily life. It begins with understanding that discomfort is not a threat, but an opportunity to grow. Every challenge you face is a lesson waiting to be learned, a chance to strengthen your character and expand your capacity to endure and succeed. The first step to developing resilience is accepting that adversity is a normal part of life. There is no life without struggle, and trying to avoid difficulty only weakens your ability to handle it. The most resilient people do not live without problems, they live with them, face them, and overcome them. Accepting this truth allows you to approach challenges with clarity instead of panic. You stop wasting energy wishing things were different and start focusing on what you can control. Every situation has elements you cannot change, and wasting time on them is futile. Instead, direct your energy toward actions that produce results. This mindset shifts your focus from victimhood to agency. Daily practice is critical. Resilience is strengthened by repetition, just like a muscle grows stronger through consistent exercise. Start by intentionally exposing yourself to manageable challenges. This could mean taking on responsibilities that feel slightly uncomfortable, learning skills that require persistence, or even setting strict personal standards for work or self-discipline. Each time you successfully navigate a small challenge, your confidence grows. You create a track record in your mind of evidence that proves you can handle difficulty. Over time, these small victories accumulate, giving you the strength to face larger obstacles with steadiness and calm. Mental preparation plays a crucial role. Anticipate the challenges that might arise during your day and consider how you will respond. This is not about worrying in advance. It is about rehearsing effective strategies. You have already exercised the mental muscles necessary to navigate it. This preparation reduces anxiety and strengthens your confidence in your ability to persevere. Resilience is also reinforced through perspective. Challenges are temporary and often smaller than they appear when viewed objectively. Stepping back and observing the situation without emotional exaggeration allows you to respond logically. Ask yourself what is truly at stake and what actions will actually improve the outcome. This practice keeps you grounded and prevents you from being overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. The ability to remain calm and clear-minded during pressure is a hallmark of resilient individuals. Consistency is the key to habit formation. Performing acts of resilience sporadically is not enough. You must embed practices into your daily routine. This includes setting small, achievable goals that push your limits, maintaining physical and mental health, and reviewing your responses to adversity regularly. Track your progress. Reflect on the times you overcame difficulty and consider what strategies worked. Each day provides new opportunities to practice resilience, and regular reflection reinforces your growth. Emotional regulation is another critical component. Resilient people feel emotions deeply but do not let them control behavior. Learning to observe your emotional responses without being consumed by them allows you to maintain composure. Techniques such as controlled breathing, focused attention, or pausing before reacting give you the ability to respond deliberately. This practice transforms stressful situations from threats into manageable experiences. You gain control over the mental and emotional states that dictate your actions. Building resilience also involves embracing discomfort rather than avoiding it. Life is filled with uncertainty and unexpected challenges. Running from discomfort reduces your ability to handle future adversity. By seeking out and tolerating challenging situations in a controlled manner, you increase your tolerance for stress and uncertainty. Each encounter with discomfort teaches patience, problem-solving, and endurance. Over time, what once felt intimidating becomes manageable, and your confidence in facing new obstacles grows exponentially. Accountability strengthens resilience. When you take responsibility for your actions and their outcomes, you empower yourself to create solutions. Blaming others or circumstances diminishes your control and weakens your ability to persevere. A resilient mindset embraces personal responsibility, learning from mistakes and applying lessons learned to future challenges. Each success and failure becomes a building block for a stronger, more capable self. Physical well-being cannot be overlooked. The mind and body are connected. Stress, fatigue, and poor health reduce mental endurance and impair decision-making. Maintaining regular physical activity, proper nutrition, and sufficient rest enhances the body's capacity to support a resilient mind. Even simple practices such as stretching, walking, or controlled breathing can strengthen mental fortitude. When your body is prepared, your mind follows, making it easier to face adversity with clarity and strength. Social support is an often overlooked but essential aspect of resilience. Surrounding yourself with individuals who encourage growth, provide constructive feedback, and offer emotional support strengthens your ability to endure challenges. Relationships built on trust and mutual respect act as stabilizers when life feels chaotic. Asking for guidance or leaning on someone for perspective is not a sign of weakness. It is a demonstration of practical resilience. It allows you to navigate difficult moments without being isolated or overwhelmed. Resilience grows through reflection. Each evening, take time to evaluate the day's challenges and your responses. Consider what went well, what could have been handled differently, and what lessons can be applied moving forward. This reflection builds insight, allowing you to refine your strategies for future challenges. Over time, your capacity for thoughtful and deliberate action improves, creating a positive feedback loop that strengthens both confidence and competence. Adapting to change is another key element. Life does not follow a predictable pattern, and resilience requires flexibility. Rigid expectations make setbacks feel catastrophic, while adaptability allows you to navigate change with composure. By practicing flexible thinking and remaining open to alternative solutions, you reduce stress and increase the likelihood of success. This adaptability becomes a cornerstone of resilience, allowing you to recover quickly and efficiently from setbacks. Resilient people also maintain a sense of purpose. Having a clear vision or meaningful goals anchors your actions during difficult times. When challenges arise, they are seen as obstacles to be navigated rather than insurmountable barriers. Purpose gives direction, motivates consistent effort, and reduces the tendency to be derailed by temporary discomfort. Each small step toward a meaningful goal reinforces your ability to persevere. Another practical approach is exposure to controlled adversity. Purposefully tackling tasks that are difficult or uncomfortable prepares you for unexpected stresses. Public speaking, intense physical training, or learning a challenging skill creates opportunities to practice endurance and problem-solving under pressure. These experiences build confidence and demonstrate that you can navigate difficulties more effectively than you initially believed. Developing resilience requires cultivating optimism rooted in reality. Optimism does not mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means focusing on what is possible and actionable rather than fixating on what is wrong or impossible. When challenges arise, optimism allows you to see solutions, opportunities, and growth potential, creating mental momentum that encourages persistence. Practical tools such as structured routines also reinforce resilience. A consistent schedule that includes deliberate periods for work, rest, and self-improvement stabilizes your mental state. Predictable routines reduce the cognitive load of constant decision-making and free mental energy to respond effectively to unexpected challenges. Discipline in daily habits translates into discipline under stress, reinforcing a resilient mindset. Visualization is a simple yet powerful technique. Imagine yourself successfully navigating challenges, remaining calm under pressure, and achieving desired outcomes. This mental rehearsal strengthens confidence, prepares neural pathways for effective action, and reduces fear when facing similar situations in reality. Over time, visualization becomes a habit, reinforcing your capacity to endure and perform under stress. A final element of resilience is gratitude. Recognizing what is positive in your life provides perspective during adversity. Gratitude does not negate difficulties, but it reminds you that challenges exist alongside opportunities, resources, and support. This perspective reduces feelings of helplessness and strengthens the mental and emotional capacity to continue moving forward. Resilience is not the absence of difficulty. It is the skill of navigating difficulty with composure, persistence, and effectiveness. It is built through daily practice, deliberate exposure to challenges, reflection, accountability, and purpose. Every moment of conscious effort strengthens the mind, expands capacity, and prepares you for the inevitable obstacles of life. By facing challenges consistently, you transform adversity into growth and uncertainty into opportunity. The process requires patience, persistence, and intention. Each small act of endurance compounds into greater mental fortitude. Each challenge faced and overcome becomes proof that you are capable of more than you previously believed. Over time, resilience becomes a defining trait, shaping your response to all areas of life. You no longer fear difficulties because you understand that each one is an opportunity to practice strength, learn a lesson, and reinforce your inner foundation. Daily application of these principles transforms the way you approach life. When adversity arises, your mind is prepared, your emotions are regulated, and your focus is clear. You navigate challenges deliberately rather than being swept away by them. This is the essence of resilience. It is not passive endurance. Every action you take and every thought you allow reinforces or diminishes this skill. By embracing discomfort, reflecting on experiences, controlling emotional responses, maintaining purpose, and exercising discipline, you create an unshakable capacity to withstand life's difficulties. The stronger your resilience, the more freedom you gain to act decisively, live intentionally, and thrive regardless of circumstances. Resilience is not a trait you are born with. It is developed, strengthened, and perfected through conscious practice. Life will remain unpredictable, but by committing to daily effort, reflection, and growth, you develop a mind that can withstand pressure, a spirit that refuses to yield, and the capacity to keep moving forward when others falter. Facing challenges with consistent daily practice is not optional if the goal is mastery over your life. It is essential. Each day you practice resilience, you invest in a future where obstacles do not determine your path, and your mindset becomes your greatest asset in every situation. Chapter 30. Shift your focus to solutions instead of endless problems. Problems are inevitable, but how you respond to them defines the quality of your life. Most people spend more time analyzing what went wrong than acting to make it right. They ruminate on setbacks, mistakes, and difficulties without moving toward a solution. This approach creates stress, stagnation, and frustration. Shifting your focus from problems to solutions is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending challenges do not exist. It is about redirecting your mental energy toward action, clarity, and progress. Every problem carries within it the seeds of a solution, and by training yourself to identify and act on these solutions, you transform challenges into opportunities for growth and improvement. The first step is to acknowledge the problem without becoming consumed by it. Recognize the facts clearly and objectively. When your mind is clear about the problem, it can focus on finding pathways forward instead of spinning in frustration. The more precisely you define the problem, the easier it is to identify practical solutions. Taking the time to understand the nature and scope of a challenge is an act of empowerment. Once the problem is understood, consciously direct attention toward what can be done. People often lose time complaining or worrying about circumstances outside their influence. Instead, concentrate on actions you can take immediately. Identify 1 or 2 steps that will move the situation toward resolution. Even small actions create momentum. Solutions do not need to be perfect, they need to exist. The habit of taking deliberate steps trains the mind to think constructively rather than reactively. Each action reinforces the mindset of capability and self-efficacy. Reframing your perspective is a powerful tool in this process. Rather than asking why something went wrong, ask how it can be fixed. Transform questions from ones that generate frustration into ones that generate possibilities. Instead of focusing on obstacles, focus on pathways. Shifting the question shifts the mind. It trains your brain to recognize options rather than limitations. Over time, this perspective becomes automatic. Emotional reactions are natural, but excessive emotional energy can obscure clear thinking. Take a moment to breathe, slow down, and observe your emotional state. Maintaining this discipline in the face of adversity strengthens mental resilience and improves decision-making. Another critical practice is brainstorming multiple potential solutions before acting. Rarely does a single approach resolve a problem perfectly. Considering several options allows you to evaluate the pros and cons of each and select the most effective path. This process cultivates creativity, flexibility, and strategic thinking. The mind begins to automatically seek alternatives, expanding the range of possibilities even in complex situations. Solutions emerge faster and with greater clarity when you train yourself to generate options rather than focus solely on the difficulty. Consistent practice in applying solutions is essential. Each day presents opportunities to exercise this skill, from minor inconveniences to major challenges. Choose one problem, no matter how small, and actively generate a solution rather than complaining or worrying. Implement it and evaluate the results. Repeat this process daily. Over time, this consistent action reinforces a mindset that prioritizes solutions, reduces anxiety, and increases effectiveness. Success builds confidence, and confidence reinforces the ability to approach future challenges constructively. Solution-focused thinking also involves anticipating challenges before they arise. Consider potential obstacles in advance and plan possible responses. This practice prevents panic, strengthens preparation, and creates mental readiness. When difficulties occur, you respond with clarity rather than reacting impulsively. Anticipation is a proactive approach that transforms uncertainty into manageable variables, giving you control in situations that might otherwise feel overwhelming. Practical tools support the development of this mindset. Writing down problems and their potential solutions creates a tangible roadmap. This process externalizes the challenge and allows for objective evaluation. Organizing possible actions by priority or feasibility simplifies decision-making. Breaking large problems into smaller, actionable steps reduces overwhelm and builds confidence. Action plans create structure where chaos might otherwise dominate, allowing the mind to focus on progress rather than paralysis. Shifting focus also requires letting go of the need for perfection. Seeking a flawless solution often results in inaction. Accept that solutions are rarely perfect and that progress matters more than perfection. Implementing a reasonable approach today produces results that can be refined over time. Taking imperfect action consistently produces better outcomes than waiting for ideal circumstances that may never arrive. The mind learns to value action and adaptability over worry and indecision. Collaboration strengthens solution-oriented thinking. When appropriate, Seek perspectives from others who can contribute insight, experience, or alternative strategies. Engaging with others broadens options, exposes blind spots, and enhances creativity. Listening actively and integrating feedback cultivates humility and reinforces that solutions are not always found in isolation. Collaboration is a tool to enhance your ability to navigate complex challenges effectively. Resilient problem solvers maintain focus under pressure. Difficult situations often trigger panic or distraction. Training your mind to stay present, calm, and deliberate during stress ensures that problem-solving remains clear and effective. Techniques such as controlled breathing, focused attention, and structured reflection prevent the mind from being hijacked by anxiety. Calmness allows for evaluation of options, prioritization of actions, and execution with precision. Reflection after action is critical. Once a solution has been applied, assess the outcome. What worked well? What could have been improved? How might the approach be adjusted in the future? This continuous feedback loop strengthens future problem-solving skills, sharpens judgment, and reinforces the solution-oriented mindset. Reflection converts experience into knowledge and habit, preparing you for increasingly complex challenges. Developing a solution-focused mindset also involves cultivating patience. Solutions may take time to implement, and results may not be immediate. Patience allows you to persist through uncertainty and maintain consistent effort toward resolution. Impulsive actions or hasty decisions often exacerbate problems. By committing to steady, deliberate progress, you ensure that each step taken is effective and aligned with the desired outcome. Patience amplifies focus and endurance. Adopting a proactive approach further enhances your capacity to focus on solutions. Identify potential problems in advance and implement preventive measures. Anticipating challenges reduces their impact and allows for preemptive action. A proactive mindset reduces reactive stress, increases confidence, and strengthens control over outcomes. Over time, this habit becomes automatic, and the mind naturally gravitates toward forward-thinking strategies rather than fixation on setbacks. Confidence in your ability to generate solutions is cultivated through experience. Each time you act deliberately to resolve a challenge, your belief in your capability strengthens. This self-trust encourages further action, creating a positive cycle of problem-solving and empowerment. The mind begins to view challenges as opportunities to demonstrate skill rather than as threats to be feared. Confidence grows proportionally with applied effort. Maintaining focus also requires managing mental energy. Distractions, overthinking, and negative self-talk drain the resources needed for effective problem-solving. Prioritize your attention on tasks that matter, eliminate unnecessary clutter, and practice mental discipline. Energy management ensures that your mind operates at peak effectiveness when confronted with challenges. Focused energy maximizes the probability of identifying and implementing successful solutions. Visualization enhances solution-oriented thinking. Before implementing a strategy, imagine the steps required, potential obstacles, and successful outcomes. Mental rehearsal prepares the mind, increases clarity, and reduces uncertainty. Visualizing success creates a roadmap for action, reinforcing confidence and strategic thinking. The mind becomes accustomed to seeing problems as solvable, which accelerates response and improves results. Finally, solution-focused thinking is reinforced by persistence. Not every attempt will succeed immediately, but perseverance ensures that each effort builds knowledge and capability. Setbacks provide feedback, not defeat. Continuing to take deliberate steps despite difficulty develops resilience, sharpens judgment, and ensures progress toward resolution. Persistence is the bridge between recognizing a problem and achieving a successful outcome. Shifting focus from problems to solutions transforms the way you approach life. Challenges become opportunities for growth, difficulties become exercises in creativity, and setbacks become lessons that prepare you for future success. Each moment of deliberate focus strengthens your mind, sharpens your abilities, and builds confidence. By consistently applying these practices, you develop the habit of seeing solutions first, acting decisively, and navigating life with clarity and control. The power of a solution-oriented mindset lies in its practical impact. Life will always present challenges, but but the mind trained to seek solutions first turns obstacles into stepping stones. By focusing on what can be done rather than what went wrong, you free yourself from mental paralysis, reduce stress, and create momentum toward meaningful progress. Each problem addressed proactively strengthens the habit of action, sharpens decision-making, and reinforces the mindset of capability and growth. Shifting your focus requires deliberate practice, awareness, and discipline. Every day, choose to notice when your attention drifts toward unproductive worry. Interrupt the pattern and redirect energy toward actionable steps. Practice reframing questions, brainstorming options, and implementing solutions. Over time, this becomes automatic. Your mind naturally gravitates toward constructive thinking, effective action, and consistent progress. Life becomes less about managing difficulties and more about generating results. Focusing on solutions creates a feedback loop of empowerment. Action generates results. Results strengthen confidence. Confidence encourages further action. Each cycle reinforces a mindset that thrives on challenge, adapts to change, and consistently moves toward improvement. Problems do not disappear, but your capacity to navigate them expands. You develop the ability to respond with clarity, determination, and practical intelligence, making difficulties manageable rather than overwhelming. Ultimately, shifting focus from problems to solutions transforms both the mind and life. By observing the problem, directing attention toward action, considering multiple options, each solution implemented reinforces belief in your capability, strengthens mental discipline, and creates a life guided by action rather than frustration. Consistent practice in this approach develops lasting resilience, clarity, and the ability to navigate every challenge with confidence and control. Chapter 4c. Build discipline by committing to small daily improvements. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. Without it, goals remain ideas and dreams stay unfulfilled. Many people believe discipline is a trait you either have or do not have, but in reality, it is a skill that can be developed through consistent, deliberate action. Discipline is not about doing grand, dramatic things all at once. It is about making small, purposeful improvements every day and refusing to let inconsistency dictate the course of your life. Each action, no matter how minor, compounds over time, creating habits that eventually shape your character, your routines, and your results. Trying to improve everything at once spreads attention too thin and leads to failure. Focus allows energy to concentrate on measurable, achievable progress, which makes discipline less about struggle and more about following a clear plan. When you know exactly what to do, it becomes easier to commit and follow through. Small daily improvements create momentum. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about consistency. Completing a task even imperfectly is more valuable than waiting for a perfect moment or ideal conditions. Each repetition strengthens your resolve, reinforces neural pathways, and builds confidence in your ability to act. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes automatic. The brain learns that effort produces results, which reduces resistance and increases willingness to maintain discipline. Habits are the mechanism through which discipline becomes effortless. Start with tiny actions that can be repeated daily without resistance. For example, reading a single page, writing a brief note, or performing a short exercise routine may seem insignificant on its own. Yet, performed consistently, these small steps accumulate into substantial progress. Discipline is developed not through intensity, but through persistence. The focus should always be on daily action, not occasional bursts of effort. Accountability reinforces the habit of discipline. Keep a journal, track your progress, or share your goals with someone who will hold you responsible. Measuring consistency transforms abstract intentions into tangible results. Seeing daily progress, no matter how small, motivates continued effort and provides evidence that disciplined actions produce growth. The discipline muscle grows fastest when you are aware of what you are doing and why you are doing it. Patience is an essential component of sustained discipline. Results are rarely immediate. Small, incremental improvements require time before they manifest as visible change. Embracing this process without frustration cultivates mental endurance and prevents discouragement. Recognizing that consistent effort compounds over weeks, months, and years shifts focus from instant gratification to long-term growth. Patience allows the mind to trust the process and continue acting even when outcomes are not yet apparent. Creating structure supports disciplined behavior. Design routines that embed important actions into your day. By scheduling tasks at consistent times and minimizing the need for constant decision-making, you reduce mental fatigue and increase adherence. Discipline is strengthened when actions are predictable and embedded in a structured framework. Consistency becomes habitual, reducing reliance on willpower alone, which is limited and fluctuates daily. Discipline also requires mastery over impulse. Many people sabotage their progress by giving in to immediate gratification, distraction, or convenience. Practicing restraint, delaying non-essential pleasures, and prioritizing meaningful actions builds control over behavior. Each choice to act deliberately rather than reactively reinforces mental strength and resilience. Over time, resisting minor temptations prepares the mind to face more significant challenges with composure and clarity. Reflection enhances the development of discipline. At the end of each day, review actions taken and decisions made. Evaluate what went well and what could be improved. Adjust plans and strategies for the next day based on these reflections. This feedback loop ensures that discipline is not blind repetition but informed, deliberate, and adaptive practice. Each reflection reinforces awareness, strengthens decision-making, and enhances the capacity for consistent action. Motivation alone is not enough to sustain discipline. Motivation fluctuates with mood, energy, and external circumstances. Relying solely on feeling motivated is unreliable. Discipline thrives on routine, commitment, and clear purpose. Developing rituals and practices that are maintained regardless of emotional state ensures progress even on days when energy or enthusiasm is low. Consistent action is the foundation of growth, not intermittent bursts of inspiration. The principle of incremental improvement applies to all areas of life. Focus on adding value, developing skills, and strengthening habits a little bit each day. Even when progress seems invisible, each action moves you closer to mastery. Compound growth is powerful. Daily improvement, repeated consistently, produces results that far exceed the sum of individual efforts. The mind and body adapt to sustained effort, making previously difficult actions easier and more effective. Accountability to self is equally critical. Commit to personal standards that are non-negotiable. Establish routines that are followed regardless of external pressure or immediate reward. Discipline grows when actions are guided by internal standards rather than external expectations or rewards. The consistency of daily practice builds credibility with yourself, which reinforces confidence, responsibility, and the ability to persevere under pressure. Focus prevents energy from dissipating. Avoid attempting multiple large projects simultaneously. Distraction and scattered attention reduce effectiveness and undermine discipline. Concentrate on one priority at a time. Completing tasks thoroughly strengthens habit formation and reinforces confidence. The satisfaction of progress fuels continued commitment to daily improvement. A clear focus ensures that energy is applied efficiently, producing results and reinforcing the habit of disciplined action. Environment shapes behavior. Remove temptations, distractions, and influences that reduce adherence to daily practice. Surround yourself with reminders of goals, systems that support consistency, and people who reinforce positive habits. Structuring your environment to support disciplined action reduces friction and increases probability of success. The mind is guided by cues in the surroundings, and intentional design ensures these cues promote growth rather than deviation. Resilience and discipline are intertwined. Consistent action builds endurance, and endurance strengthens the capacity to persist through resistance. By committing to small daily improvements, you train both your mind and character. Discipline becomes habitual, and your ability to face obstacles without giving in strengthens. Over time, challenges become opportunities to apply learned routines rather than sources of stress or delay. Daily practice builds both skill and mental fortitude simultaneously. Learning to prioritize is a component of discipline. Identify actions that contribute most significantly to growth and improvement. Execute these first, before attending to less important tasks. This ensures that energy is invested in what truly matters and prevents dilution of effort. Deliberate prioritization is a practical application of discipline that maximizes results and reinforces focus. The mind adapts to intentional decision-making, making consistency easier and more effective. Self-awareness is fundamental to refining discipline. Monitor patterns of procrastination, distraction, or avoidance. Observe triggers that weaken consistency. Adjust strategies accordingly. Awareness prevents repetition of unproductive behavior and accelerates improvement. Discipline is not rigid adherence to routine, but adaptive commitment to meaningful action. Each adjustment strengthens the system of habits, reinforces self-mastery, and ensures progress over time. Visualization reinforces small improvements. Mentally rehearsing the successful completion of daily actions primes the mind for consistent execution. Visualizing progress, outcomes, and incremental achievement strengthens confidence, reduces resistance, and increases the likelihood of action. The mind naturally aligns behavior with practiced thought patterns, creating a cycle of preparation and execution that reinforces discipline. Celebrating minor successes maintains momentum. Recognize when a small daily improvement is achieved. Acknowledgement reinforces behavior, creates positive feedback, and encourages continuation. Each completed task, no matter how small, contributes to cumulative growth. Consistent recognition of effort cultivates self-motivation and reinforces the habit of disciplined action. Discipline is not built overnight. It requires patience, repetition, and commitment. Each day of consistent action strengthens habits, rewires mental pathways, and builds reliability. Over time, what once required effort becomes automatic. The cumulative effect of daily improvement produces outcomes far beyond the scope of individual actions. Small, repeated steps create mastery in skill, mindset, and life. By committing to small daily improvements, you transform intention into reality. Discipline is not a momentary act of will but a lifestyle built on consistent practice, reflection, and deliberate action. Each day presents an opportunity to strengthen character, refine skills, and cultivate the habits that determine long-term success. The power of disciplined daily effort is magnified over time, producing results that are both tangible and enduring. Discipline becomes a natural extension of identity, and the life you desire becomes achievable through consistent, incremental progress. Chapter 5. Challenge negative beliefs and replace them with empowering truths. Negative beliefs have the power to silently dictate your life. They shape your decisions, limit your opportunities, and create invisible barriers that keep you from realizing your full potential. Most people accept these beliefs as truths because they are familiar, repeated, or reinforced over time. Yet, these ideas are not facts. They are assumptions, interpretations, or judgments that have no authority over your life unless you allow them to. The first step in transforming your mindset is to recognize these beliefs for what they are. Awareness is the foundation of change. Until you can identify a thought pattern that undermines your confidence or limits your possibilities, you cannot replace it with something stronger, healthier, and more empowering. Begin by listening to the internal dialogue you carry throughout the day. Observe recurring thoughts, especially those that induce doubt, fear, or hesitation. Negative beliefs often hide in everyday self-talk disguised as caution or realism. Statements like "I am not capable," "I always fail," or "this is impossible for me" are not absolute truths. They are reflections of past experiences or external influences that have been accepted uncritically. Writing these thoughts down creates clarity. Seeing them on paper allows you to analyze their validity objectively. When you separate emotion from observation, it becomes easier to challenge and dismantle limiting ideas. The next step is to question every negative belief rigorously. Ask yourself why you hold it, what evidence supports it, and what evidence contradicts it. Often, these beliefs are based on outdated experiences or biased perceptions rather than current reality. For example, failing at a task once does not mean you will fail every time. Challenging negative beliefs involves replacing assumptions with facts. This process removes the power that fear and doubt have over your decisions. It shifts your focus from limitation to possibility and opens the door to intentional action. Replacing negative beliefs requires consciously constructing empowering truths. These are statements grounded in reality, personal capability, and growth potential. For instance, instead of thinking, "I cannot handle this challenge," reframe it as, "I have the skills to take deliberate steps and overcome obstacles." Empowering truths reinforce confidence, focus, and resilience. They are not empty affirmations but logical, evidence-based statements that guide your behavior toward productive outcomes. Repetition strengthens these beliefs, creating a mental framework that supports success instead of discouragement. Consistency is crucial in this process. A single thought cannot override years of internalized negativity. Each time a negative belief surfaces, consciously counter it with an empowering truth. This may feel awkward at first, but the mind adapts through repetition. Every moment of resistance, reflection, and redirection strengthens your ability to maintain a constructive perspective. Over time, this consistent practice transforms your default mindset, making positivity and empowerment the natural state of your thinking rather than the exception. Action reinforces new beliefs. Thoughts alone are insufficient. They must translate into behavior. Acting as though you are capable, resourceful, and resilient creates real evidence that your empowering truths are valid. Every step taken, every challenge faced, and every task completed strengthens the connection between belief and reality. When your actions align with your new mindset, self-doubt loses credibility. You begin to trust your ability to navigate challenges, make decisions, and achieve goals without being hindered by old limitations. Awareness of triggers is an essential aspect of replacing negative beliefs. Certain situations, people, or environments may provoke old patterns of thought. Observing these triggers without judgment allows you to prepare responses in advance. By recognizing the moments when negative beliefs are most likely to arise, you can consciously introduce empowering truths before the old thought patterns take hold. This preemptive approach reduces the chance of reverting to disempowering habits and strengthens control over your mental landscape. Reflection consolidates progress. Each evening, review moments when negative beliefs emerged and how they were addressed. Evaluate which strategies were effective and identify opportunities for improvement. This ongoing analysis reinforces the connection between thought, action, and outcome. Reflection transforms practice into mastery, allowing you to refine techniques, enhance self-awareness, and strengthen the integration of empowering beliefs into daily life. Mindset is influenced by the company you keep. Surrounding yourself with people who reinforce positivity, resilience, and growth supports the replacement of negative beliefs. Exposure to individuals who doubt, criticize, or belittle can trigger old patterns of thought and weaken newly adopted empowering beliefs. Choosing relationships intentionally and engaging with communities that celebrate progress, learning, and strength accelerates personal transformation and solidifies a constructive mental environment. Emotional regulation plays a significant role in challenging negative beliefs. Strong emotions such as fear, anger, or disappointment can amplify limiting thoughts and make them feel inevitable. Practicing techniques such as mindful breathing, deliberate pauses, and focused attention allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. Emotional control enhances clarity, enabling the mind to distinguish between perception and reality, and supports the reinforcement of empowering truths even in high-stress situations. Empowering beliefs should be specific and actionable. Vague statements like, "I am confident," are less effective than concrete declarations tied to behaviors or outcomes, such as, "I will complete this task with focus and persistence." Specificity provides direction and measurable feedback, allowing you to observe progress and maintain motivation. Clear, actionable beliefs guide behavior, create accountability, and strengthen the connection between thought and achievement. Persistence is necessary because old patterns resist change. Limiting beliefs are deeply ingrained and reinforced over years of experience. Transformation does not occur instantly. Repeated practice, reflection, and conscious action gradually erode these beliefs, replacing them with truths that support growth. Recognizing that resistance is part of the process prevents discouragement and maintains commitment to ongoing self-improvement. Visualization enhances the replacement of negative beliefs. Mentally imagining yourself succeeding, responding with confidence, and achieving goals strengthens the neural pathways associated with empowering truths. This rehearsal trains the mind to accept new possibilities as real and attainable. The brain adapts to repeated exposure to constructive imagery, which reinforces behavior consistent with your desired mindset. Visualization bridges thought and action, solidifying the shift from limitation to empowerment. Language shapes reality. Be mindful of how you speak to yourself. Words carry weight and influence perception. Replace phrases like, "I can't," with, "I will find a way." Adjust your internal dialogue consistently, and it will gradually transform the lens through which you view challenges. Your vocabulary reinforces beliefs and conditions your response to situations. Consistently using positive, empowering language strengthens mental patterns that support resilience and progress. Actionable accountability ensures that new beliefs take root. Document instances where you applied empowering truths and the outcomes achieved. Keeping a record reinforces evidence that supports change, builds confidence, and creates a reference point during moments of doubt. Accountability turns abstract concepts into tangible progress, providing motivation and measurable proof that transformation is possible. Learning from setbacks is integral to the process. When negative beliefs surface or challenges feel overwhelming, view these moments as feedback rather than failure. Each experience provides information on how to refine beliefs, strategies, and behavior. This mindset shifts perspective from self-criticism to self-improvement, reinforcing resilience and adaptability. Every setback becomes an opportunity to strengthen empowering beliefs and expand capacity. Mindful observation of thought patterns enhances control. Regularly check in with your mind, noticing recurring doubts, assumptions, or fears. Awareness allows you to intervene deliberately, replacing unhelpful patterns with empowering truths. Mindfulness creates a buffer between stimulus and response, giving the mind the space to choose constructive beliefs instead of defaulting to negativity. Gratitude reinforces empowering beliefs. Recognizing personal strengths, progress, and opportunities provides evidence that positive change is possible. Focusing on what is working rather than what is lacking strengthens confidence and shifts attention away from limiting beliefs. Daily acknowledgement of accomplishments, however small, reinforces the credibility of constructive thoughts and supports continued mental growth. Empowering beliefs are reinforced by action in multiple contexts. Apply them in work, relationships, health, and personal goals. The more areas in which you act consistently according to your new mindset, the stronger the beliefs become. Consistency across situations builds resilience, confidence, and adaptability, ensuring that empowering truths are integrated into the fabric of your life rather than existing only in theory. Transformation requires commitment. Challenging negative beliefs is not a one-time exercise but a lifelong practice. Consistent awareness, deliberate action, reflection, and reinforcement ensure that empowering truths dominate over limitations. Each conscious effort strengthens mental clarity, emotional control, and the ability to navigate challenges confidently. By actively replacing negative beliefs, you reclaim authority over your mind, decisions, and life direction. The ultimate outcome of this process is freedom. Freedom from self-doubt, from limiting assumptions, and from the mental patterns that restrict potential. By challenging negative beliefs and replacing them with empowering truths, you create a mindset capable of facing challenges, seizing opportunities, and achieving goals. The mind becomes an ally instead of an obstacle, and life becomes a platform for growth, action, and meaningful achievement. Each day of deliberate practice reinforces this transformation, building strength, clarity, and confidence that endures. Chapter 60: Train your mind to stay calm under high pressure. High-pressure situations are a part of life, and how you respond to them defines the outcomes you achieve. Many people react instinctively with anxiety, frustration, or panic, which clouds judgment and leads to mistakes. Staying calm under pressure is not a natural talent reserved for a few. It is a skill that can be trained and strengthened with deliberate practice. The foundation of calmness begins with awareness of your physiological and mental responses. When tension rises, the heart beats faster, breathing becomes shallow, and the mind fixates on potential threats. Recognizing these signals is the first step in mastering composure. By observing your body and thoughts objectively, you create the space to act intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. Breathing is a simple yet powerful tool for regulating stress and maintaining clarity. In moments of pressure, slow, controlled breaths send signals to the nervous system to reduce tension. Focusing on breathing redirects attention away from fear or overwhelm and anchors the mind in the present moment. Practicing this technique daily, even in low-pressure situations, trains the body to respond calmly when challenges intensify. Over time, deep and deliberate breathing becomes an automatic response that counteracts anxiety and strengthens mental control. Preparation is another essential component of calmness. Anticipating potential scenarios and planning responses reduces uncertainty, which is a primary source of stress. Mentally rehearsing how to handle difficulties equips the mind with strategies that can be deployed instinctively. The more familiar a situation feels, the less likely it is to trigger panic. Preparation provides confidence, reduces hesitation, and allows for composed decision-making even when the stakes are high. This proactive approach shifts the focus from fear to action. Mental focus reinforces calm under pressure. High-stress situations often scatter attention, making it difficult to prioritize or assess options effectively. Training the mind to concentrate on the task at hand while ignoring distractions strengthens resilience. Techniques such as breaking problems into smaller, manageable parts or asking oneself what the next actionable step is keep the mind grounded. Focusing on controllable factors rather than the enormity of the situation prevents overwhelm and allows measured, deliberate responses. Emotional regulation is critical. Pressure triggers intense emotions, but allowing them to dominate clouds judgment and impairs reasoning. Observing emotions without judgment and consciously choosing responses empowers you to maintain control. Naming the feelings you experience, fear, frustration, impatience, creates distance from them and reduces their intensity. This practice builds the habit of responding thoughtfully rather than reacting automatically, which is central to sustaining calm under any circumstances. Visualization strengthens the ability to remain composed. Mentally rehearsing high-pressure situations, imagining yourself responding with clarity, confidence, and effectiveness, conditions the mind for real-world application. Visualization creates neural pathways that associate stress with composure rather than panic. Repeated practice builds familiarity, reduces fear, and instills confidence that you can navigate difficult circumstances without being overwhelmed. The mind begins to accept calmness as the natural response. Perspective is a vital tool for maintaining mental stability. Stepping back from a situation to assess its relative importance prevents minor pressures from feeling catastrophic. Ask whether the issue will matter in a week, a month, or a year. This practice prevents disproportionate reactions and maintains mental balance. By viewing challenges objectively, you create space for rational thinking and measured action. Calmness grows when the mind distinguishes between urgent threats and temporary difficulties. Consistency in daily habits supports composure during high-pressure moments. A disciplined routine, including regular exercise, adequate sleep, and structured focus periods, strengthens mental and physical resilience. Stress endurance improves when the body is well, nourished and rested, and the mind has been trained to sustain attention under varying conditions. Daily practice builds a stable foundation from which calmness emerges naturally during unexpected challenges. Self-talk shapes response under pressure. Internal dialogue can either escalate anxiety or reinforce calm, replacing thoughts of doubt or panic with constructive statements such as, "I can handle this step by step," or "Focus on what is in my control," creates a mental framework for measured action. Consistently applying empowering self-talk conditions the mind to remain grounded when external stressors arise. Over time, positive mental reinforcement becomes instinctive. Physical grounding techniques enhance mental clarity. Simple actions like pressing feet firmly into the ground, engaging muscles through posture, or consciously relaxing tense areas of the body redirect attention and reduce physiological symptoms of stress. The connection between body and mind is immediate. Controlling the body reinforces mental calm. Practicing these techniques regularly ensures they can be employed instantly in high-pressure moments to restore balance. Decision-making under pressure benefits from structured processes. When emotions run high, the mind can jump to conclusions or make impulsive choices. Creating a mental checklist or step-by-step approach provides a framework for evaluating options calmly. Even simple methods such as identifying the problem, listing possible actions, and considering consequences before choosing prevent reactive responses. Structured decision-making reinforces the habit of measured action, which is central to composure. Resilience strengthens calmness. Facing challenges consistently builds confidence in your ability to handle stress. Each successfully navigated difficulty reinforces the belief that you can endure pressure without losing clarity. Reflection on past achievements under stress provides evidence that composure is attainable, which reduces fear and enhances mental stability in future situations. Resilience and calmness feed each other in a positive cycle. Adapting to change improves your ability to remain composed. High-pressure scenarios are often unpredictable, and rigid thinking magnifies stress. Flexible problem-solving and openness to alternative approaches reduce panic and increase effectiveness. Accepting that not everything can be controlled allows focus on what can be influenced. Adaptability strengthens mental calm by reducing resistance to unexpected circumstances and enhancing confidence in navigating challenges. Mindfulness practice supports presence under stress. Training attention to remain anchored in the present moment reduces rumination on worst-case scenarios. Observing thoughts and sensations without attachment improves focus and prevents escalation of anxiety. Regular mindfulness exercises condition the mind to respond calmly to high-pressure events, enabling deliberate action and thoughtful problem-solving. Calmness becomes a practiced habit rather than a rare occurrence. Incremental exposure to stressful situations strengthens control. Gradually increasing the complexity or intensity of challenges conditions the mind to operate effectively under pressure. This exposure develops confidence, reduces fear, and reinforces the ability to maintain composure. Each successfully managed scenario adds to the mental toolkit, preparing you for progressively higher stakes and ensuring that calmness becomes instinctive under strain. Focus on solutions rather than problems reinforces calmness. When faced with stress, the mind often fixates on the difficulty rather than actionable responses. Redirecting attention to practical steps, resources, and strategies grounds mental energy in constructive action. This shift reduces panic and provides clarity, ensuring that pressure triggers decisive effort instead of paralysis. Calmness is a byproduct of purpose-driven focus in challenging moments. Accountability strengthens mental composure. Taking ownership of decisions and responses ensures that pressure is met with deliberate action rather than blame or avoidance. Accepting responsibility fosters confidence, reinforces resilience, and trains the mind to remain rational even when external circumstances are difficult. Calmness grows when you trust yourself to navigate challenges effectively. Routine reflection consolidates progress. After facing high-pressure situations, review responses, decisions, and emotional control. Identify what worked, what could be improved, and strategies for future scenarios. This analysis enhances skill, builds awareness, and reinforces composure. Continuous reflection transforms experience into expertise, ensuring that the ability to stay calm strengthens with each encounter. Positive visualization of outcomes reinforces confidence. Envision completing tasks successfully under stress, maintaining clarity and control. Mental rehearsal builds neural patterns that align with desired behavior, ensuring that composure becomes automatic when facing real-world challenges. Visualization prepares the mind for pressure, reducing fear and enhancing deliberate, effective responses. Preparation, focus, emotional regulation, mindfulness, reflection, and consistent practice combine to train the mind to remain calm under pressure. Calmness is not passive. It is active engagement with challenges through measured, deliberate responses. Each practice strengthens mental fortitude, allowing clarity, focus, and effectiveness to prevail even when stakes are high. Mastery of composure transforms pressure from a threat into an opportunity for deliberate action, growth, and achievement. Chapter 70. Practice gratitude every day to improve mental clarity. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for improving mental clarity and transforming your experience of life. It shifts attention away from what is lacking or stressful and refocuses the mind on what is already present, valuable, and meaningful. People who practice gratitude consistently experience reduced anxiety, stronger focus, and greater emotional resilience. Gratitude is not merely a feeling, it is a disciplined habit that can be cultivated daily. By consciously acknowledging what is positive and constructive, the mind becomes less cluttered with negative thoughts and distractions, making it easier to think clearly and act decisively in every area of life. The first step in practicing gratitude is awareness. Take a few moments each day to observe your surroundings, experiences, and interactions. Notice small details that are often overlooked: the warmth of the sun, a supportive word from someone, a meal that nourished your body, or even a challenge that taught a lesson. Awareness creates recognition that life is composed of countless elements that contribute positively, many of which are easily taken for granted. The more you notice these elements, the more naturally your mind will shift toward appreciation and clarity. Writing down what you are grateful for is a highly effective technique. Maintaining a daily journal with 3 to 5 specific items encourages reflection and reinforces the habit. When thoughts are externalized in writing, the brain processes them more deeply. This practice trains your mind to prioritize constructive thinking over negative ruminations. Recording gratitude daily strengthens neural pathways associated with positive cognition and reduces mental clutter, making decision-making more focused and deliberate. Gratitude also requires specificity. General statements such as, "I am grateful for life," are less effective than precise observations like, "I am grateful for the conversation I had today that gave me new perspective," or "I am grateful for the focus I maintained on my work this morning." Specificity directs attention to concrete details and encourages deeper reflection. The act of articulating exactly what you value enhances awareness, reinforces appreciation, and sharpens mental clarity. Practicing gratitude can be integrated into routine activities. Begin or end the day with a moment of acknowledgement. While eating, walking, or performing chores, pause to consider the elements that make life functional and meaningful. Integrating gratitude into ordinary activities turns it into a habit rather than a task. The more embedded it becomes in daily life, the more consistently it influences thought patterns, reducing mental fog and increasing focus. Physical sensations support the mental practice of gratitude. Engaging the body, such as taking a slow breath, placing a hand on the heart, or standing with posture aligned, creates a connection between mind and body that reinforces positive mental states. Feeling the gratitude physically strengthens the emotional resonance and ensures that the awareness is not only intellectual but experienced fully. This somatic connection enhances the clarity of thought and stabilizes emotional responses. Gratitude also shifts the perception of challenges. When facing difficulties, acknowledging aspects of the situation that are constructive or manageable reduces feelings of overwhelm. It creates a perspective that emphasizes resources, skills, and opportunities rather than limitations. Viewing adversity through a lens of appreciation allows the mind to remain calm, focused, and solution-oriented. Clarity emerges when negative distractions are minimized and attention is directed toward actionable steps and opportunities for growth. Daily practice reinforces neural pathways. Repetition is essential for establishing long-lasting mental patterns. When gratitude is consistently applied, the mind begins to default to noticing positive aspects rather than fixating on stress, distractions, or problems. This change in focus reduces cognitive load, enhances working memory, and strengthens the ability to maintain concentration in complex or demanding situations. Mental clarity improves naturally as a result of this repeated practice. Sharing gratitude with others amplifies the benefits. Expressing appreciation strengthens relationships, improves social connection, and creates a supportive environment that reinforces positivity. Recognition of others' contributions reduces conflict, fosters cooperation, and promotes calmness. Social reinforcement encourages consistency and adds an external layer of accountability, making the habit of gratitude more durable and impactful. Gratitude encourages a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. When the mind focuses on what is present and valuable, it experiences less anxiety about what is missing. Scarcity thinking increases stress and impairs concentration. Gratitude shifts perspective to what is achievable, available, and constructive. This mental orientation enhances decision-making, problem-solving, and daily effectiveness by reducing unnecessary mental distraction and worry. Gratitude can also be applied retrospectively, reflecting on past experiences and recognizing lessons. Growth or hidden benefits transforms memories from burdens into sources of insight. Past mistakes and challenges, when reframed with appreciation for what they taught or revealed, reduce lingering negativity and create a foundation for clearer thought in the present. Mental clarity increases when attention is freed from unresolved regret or frustration. Consistency is critical. Practicing gratitude once or sporadically provides temporary benefits, but lasting clarity requires daily attention. Setting reminders, integrating gratitude into morning or evening routines, or establishing ritualized moments ensures the practice is maintained. Over time, the consistent application reshapes thought patterns, reducing intrusive negative thoughts and increasing focus and resilience under pressure. Gratitude also improves perception of time. When the mind is focused on appreciating present experiences, it becomes less distracted by regret over the past or worry about the future. This orientation toward the present moment enhances mental clarity, increases awareness of actionable opportunities, and allows for more deliberate and thoughtful decisions. Present moment focus is a natural byproduct of consistent gratitude practice. Mindset adjustments strengthen the effects of gratitude. When challenges arise, consciously acknowledge aspects that are functional or positive. Identify skills, support systems, or small advantages that allow navigation through difficulty. This reinforces a sense of agency, reduces helplessness, and maintains cognitive sharpness even under stress. Gratitude directs attention to what can be leveraged, which promotes practical action and insight. Mental rehearsal of gratitude strengthens neural responses. Before engaging in demanding work or decision-making, take a moment to recall situations, people, or experiences you are grateful for. This primes the brain for clarity, focus, and calm engagement. Positive mental priming improves attention, reduces impulsive reactions, and enhances the ability to process information effectively under pressure. Gratitude reduces mental noise. Negative thoughts, stress, and worry create clutter that interferes with judgment and problem-solving. Daily acknowledgement of positive elements reduces this clutter, creating space for strategic thinking, creativity, and informed decisions. Mental clarity is not achieved by ignoring challenges, but by ensuring that attention is directed toward constructive, actionable, and meaningful aspects of life. Applying gratitude to personal progress reinforces self-efficacy. Recognizing small achievements, incremental improvements, and learned lessons strengthens confidence and determination. Awareness of growth, even when incremental, motivates continued effort, reduces anxiety, and enhances decision-making. This practice reinforces a positive feedback loop that maintains clarity, focus, and composure in every task undertaken. Gratitude strengthens emotional intelligence. Observing and appreciating positive aspects of interactions and situations enhances understanding of self and others. Greater awareness of dynamics improves judgment, communication, and relationship management. This clarity of perception improves both personal and professional outcomes by allowing responses to be guided by insight rather than reaction. Integration of gratitude into reflective practice enhances strategic thinking. After completing tasks, projects, or experiences, acknowledging what went well and what contributed to progress consolidates learning. The mind links positive reinforcement with effective action, making it more likely to repeat constructive behaviors and approach future challenges with clarity, focus, and confidence. Gratitude provides a mental anchor during chaos. When life becomes overwhelming, pausing to acknowledge what is valuable and functioning reduces panic and restores perspective. This anchor creates mental stability, enabling reasoned action and thoughtful response. Calm clarity emerges when attention is centered on constructive elements rather than scattered by stress or fear. The consistent practice of gratitude transforms the mind over time. It reshapes thought patterns, reduces distraction, enhances awareness, and strengthens the capacity for clear, deliberate action. Mental clarity becomes the natural state rather than the exception, and decision-making improves because attention is focused on actionable, positive, and meaningful factors. By practicing gratitude daily, the mind becomes sharper, calmer, and more resilient. Each moment of acknowledgement reinforces the neural structures that support clear thinking, intentional focus, and measured response. Gratitude is not a passive sentiment, but a practical strategy for achieving mental clarity, enhancing performance, and navigating life with awareness, balance, and control. Consistency, reflection, and intentional application transform this habit into a powerful force for personal growth and effective action. Chapter 80. Set clear goals to guide your mindset through difficulties. Setting clear goals is one of the most effective ways to maintain focus and stability when life becomes challenging. Without a defined direction, the mind tends to drift, reacting to circumstances instead of intentionally shaping outcomes. Goals act as anchors that provide clarity, motivation, and a framework for consistent action. They allow you to navigate difficulties with purpose rather than being swept away by confusion, stress, or external pressure. When you know exactly what you are aiming for, decisions become easier, distractions have less influence, and the ability to persevere in adversity strengthens. The process of goal setting begins with identifying what truly matters. Consider the areas of your life where progress will have the most meaningful impact. Focus on personal growth, relationships, career, health, or skills that contribute to long-term fulfillment. Narrowing priorities prevents energy from being scattered across too many objectives. Clarity in what you choose to pursue lays the groundwork for disciplined action and provides the mental structure needed to face obstacles without losing direction. Once priorities are identified, articulate goals in precise and measurable terms. Vague intentions such as, "I want to get better at my work," lack focus and do not provide actionable steps. Instead, define what improvement looks like, when it will be achieved, and how success will be evaluated. Clear goals transform abstract aspirations into concrete targets. They convert uncertainty into a roadmap, making it easier to take consistent, deliberate action even when circumstances are difficult or unpredictable. Breaking larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks ensures steady progress. When faced with overwhelming challenges, the mind can become paralyzed by the scope of what must be achieved. Dividing goals into actionable steps prevents overwhelm and maintains momentum. Each completed step reinforces confidence, strengthens resilience, and reinforces the habit of focusing on solutions rather than problems. Incremental achievements provide tangible evidence of progress, which sustains motivation during tough times. Daily routines aligned with goals strengthen consistency and reduce indecision. Structure your day to include tasks directly tied to meaningful objectives. Prioritizing these actions makes it less likely that distractions or reactive responses will derail your progress. The combination of clear goals and deliberate routines builds a system that supports resilience, clarity, and consistent forward movement, regardless of external challenges. Writing goals down enhances mental commitment. Putting objectives on paper engages the brain more fully than simply holding them in thought. Writing reinforces intention, provides a reference for reflection, and increases accountability. Revisiting written goals regularly strengthens focus, reminds the mind of priorities, and encourages the repeated actions necessary to navigate difficulties successfully. This external record also allows you to track progress objectively, which enhances motivation and clarity. Visualizing goals in detail reinforces focus and mental clarity. Imagine achieving the objectives, experiencing the results, and feeling the benefits. Visualization primes the mind for consistent effort, reducing hesitation and doubt. When the brain has a clear mental picture of success, actions align more naturally with the desired outcome. Visualization also strengthens the emotional connection to goals, ensuring persistence during challenging moments when motivation alone might falter. Goals must remain flexible to accommodate change. Life is unpredictable, and obstacles often require adjustments in approach. Flexibility allows adaptation without abandoning the objective entirely. Reassess strategies, refine steps, and modify timelines when necessary. The ability to remain committed to the goal while adapting methods cultivates resilience, maintains momentum, and prevents frustration from derailing progress. Flexibility ensures that goals guide the mind instead of becoming rigid sources of stress. Focus on outcomes you can influence strengthens clarity and action. Goals should emphasize areas within your control rather than external circumstances beyond influence. Concentrating on controllable factors ensures that effort translates into measurable results. This approach reduces frustration, maintains confidence, and cultivates a mindset centered on solutions and progress. When the mind is directed toward actionable elements, even difficulties become opportunities to exercise control and achieve growth. Accountability enhances goal attainment. Share objectives with trusted individuals who will encourage progress and hold you responsible. External accountability provides motivation, reinforces commitment, and highlights areas requiring adjustment. Tracking and reviewing progress with others strengthens discipline and ensures that goals remain a guiding force rather than abstract intentions. Social reinforcement supports mental clarity and the consistent application of effort. Reflection consolidates learning and focus. Regularly review achievements, challenges, and strategies in relation to your goals. Analyze what worked, what requires adjustment, and where improvements can be made. Reflection prevents repeating ineffective actions, strengthens decision-making, and deepens understanding of personal capabilities. Consistent review ensures that goals continue to serve as a compass, guiding action and maintaining clarity amid adversity. Emotional connection to goals increases persistence. Understanding why a goal matters and how it contributes to long-term fulfillment reinforces commitment. When obstacles arise, an emotional anchor strengthens resilience and prevents discouragement from limiting action. Goals connected to meaningful outcomes motivate consistent effort and sustain focus, even when external conditions are unfavorable. Clarity emerges when purpose and direction are aligned, allowing the mind to navigate challenges with confidence. Setting deadlines enhances accountability and urgency. Timelines transform goals from abstract ideas into time-sensitive priorities. Deadlines encourage planning, structured effort, and consistent action. They prevent procrastination, reduce distraction, and maintain focus during periods of pressure. Awareness of timelines helps the mind prioritize effectively, ensuring that effort is applied to what truly matters and progress is consistently measurable. Anticipating potential obstacles supports preparedness. Identify challenges that may arise and develop strategies to address them. This proactive approach reduces stress and increases confidence when difficulties occur. Knowing in advance how to respond prevents impulsive reactions, allowing the mind to remain clear and focused. Preparedness ensures that setbacks are navigated without losing sight of the objective. Affirming progress reinforces motivation. Acknowledge milestones and incremental achievements along the path to larger goals. Recognition of progress strengthens confidence, maintains focus, and reduces the likelihood of abandoning effort during challenging periods. Celebrating small wins builds momentum, reinforces positive habits, and sustains mental clarity by providing concrete evidence that goals are achievable. Prioritization ensures that energy is directed toward actions that have the most impact. Not all tasks contribute equally to achieving objectives. Evaluate each activity in relation to your goals and allocate time and effort accordingly. Prioritizing high-value actions maintains focus, reduces wasted energy, and enhances mental clarity. When priorities are clear, even difficult situations are approached with purposeful action rather than confusion. Consistency is the backbone of goal achievement. Daily effort, even small, accumulates over time to produce significant results. Goals serve as a roadmap, but consistent application of effort transforms direction into tangible outcomes. Maintaining focus and discipline ensures that progress continues steadily, even in the face of challenges or uncertainty. Over time, consistent action reinforces clarity, resilience, and the capacity to navigate life effectively. Monitoring mindset ensures alignment with goals. Awareness of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors ensures that mental energy supports objectives rather than undermining them. Identifying unproductive thinking or self-doubt allows for immediate correction. A mindset aligned with goals enhances decision-making, reduces distraction, and maintains the clarity needed to act effectively under pressure. Adapting goals to reflect evolving circumstances maintains relevance. Life changes, new information emerges, and priorities shift. Revisiting and updating goals ensures they remain meaningful and achievable. Adaptation prevents stagnation, maintains motivation, and strengthens clarity by keeping focus on objectives that genuinely matter in the current context. Integration of goals into daily life transforms intention into action. Each task, decision, and habit is viewed in relation to the objectives being pursued. This integration reinforces clarity, focus, and purpose in every choice made. Life becomes guided by deliberate action rather than reactive behavior, even when facing challenges, stress, or uncertainty. Clear goals provide a framework for resilience, focus, and action. They anchor the mind, guide decisions, and strengthen mental clarity. When objectives are defined, measurable, prioritized, and aligned with purpose, challenges become manageable, distractions are minimized, and each day is an opportunity to progress steadily. Consistent reflection, adaptation, and commitment ensure that goals continue to guide the mind effectively, providing direction, confidence, and clarity even in the most difficult circumstances. Chapter 90: Eliminate distractions that weaken your focus and mental energy. Distractions are one of the most significant barriers to maintaining focus, clarity, and mental energy. They fragment attention, reduce productivity, and leave the mind exhausted without accomplishing meaningful results. In today's world, distractions come in many forms, from notifications and social media to internal chatter and environmental interruptions. Learning to identify, manage, and eliminate these distractions is essential for improving mental clarity, sustaining energy, and achieving goals consistently. The first step in regaining control is awareness. Observe what commonly pulls your attention away from tasks that matter. Many distractions are habitual, almost automatic, and go unnoticed until they have consumed valuable time. By recognizing what interferes with focus, you create the opportunity to address it directly. External distractions often compete for attention more visibly. Devices such as phones, computers, and televisions are powerful sources of interruption. They are designed to capture focus through notifications, alerts, and endless streams of content. Creating boundaries around these tools is critical. Silence notifications, set specific times to check messages, and designate periods where devices are off limits. Structured use of technology prevents it from fragmenting attention and allows the mind to concentrate fully on tasks that advance goals and personal growth. Physical environment plays a significant role in mental energy. A cluttered workspace, constant noise, or chaotic surroundings can create cognitive overload. The mind struggles to filter irrelevant stimuli, reducing focus and increasing fatigue. Organizing your physical space, minimizing visual distractions, and creating a calm environment enhance concentration. Even small adjustments, such as removing unnecessary objects or establishing a quiet corner for work, significantly improve clarity and sustain energy levels throughout demanding tasks. Internal distractions can be just as disruptive as external ones. Thoughts of worry, regret, or random planning can fragment attention and drain energy. These mental interruptions often go unnoticed, but continually compete for cognitive resources. Developing practices to manage internal distractions is essential. Techniques such as mindfulness, focused breathing, or brief meditative pauses help the mind return to the present moment. Mental training strengthens the ability to notice intrusive thoughts without reacting to them, maintaining clarity and concentration on what truly matters. Prioritization reduces susceptibility to distractions. When tasks and goals are unclear or undefined, the mind is easily pulled in multiple directions, creating a clear hierarchy of what requires immediate attention versus what can wait directs energy toward meaningful actions. Knowing the importance and urgency of each task prevents reactive engagement with unimportant matters and strengthens mental discipline. A prioritized plan acts as a shield against both internal and external interruptions. Time management strategies reinforce focus. Scheduling work periods and allocating specific blocks for high-priority tasks creates structure. During these periods, commit to uninterrupted effort by minimizing potential distractions. Using techniques such as time blocking or the Pomodoro method allows the mind to engage fully with tasks while maintaining awareness of breaks to rest and recharge. Structured time enhances efficiency, mental clarity, and sustainable energy throughout the day. Intentional habits strengthen resistance to distractions. Consistently practicing focused attention builds mental endurance. Simple habits, such as setting daily objectives, reviewing progress, and engaging in deliberate practice, train the mind to prioritize concentration. The more often focus is exercised, the less likely distractions will disrupt performance. Mental energy is preserved when attention is systematically directed toward meaningful activities, reducing the tendency for fragmentation. Limiting multitasking improves both productivity and clarity. Attempting multiple tasks simultaneously divides cognitive resources, increases errors, and reduces overall effectiveness. Focusing on one activity at a time allows the mind to perform at maximum efficiency. Completing tasks sequentially also provides a sense of accomplishment that reinforces motivation and mental discipline. Single tasking cultivates sustained attention and prevents mental fatigue caused by constant switching between unrelated tasks. Setting clear boundaries with others is critical to minimizing interruptions. Communicate availability, establish dedicated focus periods, and create expectations for uninterrupted work. Respecting your own boundaries encourages others to do the same. Consistent enforcement of these boundaries preserves mental energy and allows the mind to remain fully engaged with the task at hand without external interference. Digital decluttering enhances mental clarity. Regularly review apps, subscriptions, and online content that do not contribute to personal growth or productivity. Reducing unnecessary digital inputs decreases cognitive load, frees attention, and creates mental space for meaningful work. Intentional consumption of digital content strengthens focus, energy, and the ability to act deliberately rather than reactively. Mindful transition between tasks prevents distraction from carrying over. Shifting attention abruptly or engaging in unrelated activities between tasks increases cognitive fragmentation. Pause briefly to complete one activity mentally, organize thoughts, and prepare for the next task. This practice ensures that attention is fully applied to each endeavor, reducing mental exhaustion and maintaining clarity across the day. Monitoring energy levels helps identify periods when focus is most achievable. Mental fatigue increases susceptibility to distraction, making it harder to maintain attention and sustain productivity. Scheduling demanding tasks during peak energy periods ensures maximum clarity and efficiency. Recognizing natural rhythms and aligning effort with optimal mental states allows the mind to perform consistently at a high level. Eliminating unnecessary commitments preserves energy for meaningful focus. Many distractions arise from overextension or trying to meet unrealistic obligations. Evaluating responsibilities and consciously deciding what to accept or decline strengthens control over time and attention. Simplifying commitments reduces cognitive overload, allowing concentration to remain on essential tasks and priorities that advance long-term goals. Rewarding focused behavior reinforces the practice of eliminating distractions. Celebrate periods of sustained attention, completion of tasks, or adherence to routines. Positive reinforcement strengthens neural patterns associated with disciplined focus, making it easier to maintain composure in the presence of potential interruptions. Motivation increases when effort and results are acknowledged, supporting continued mental clarity and energy management. Mindset plays a central role in resisting distractions. Viewing focus as a deliberate choice rather than a passive state empowers the mind to remain engaged despite potential interruptions. Framing attention as an active practice strengthens resilience against internal and external forces that compete for mental resources. When focus is treated as intentional, distractions lose their power and energy is preserved for meaningful action. Reflection enhances awareness of distraction patterns. At the end of the day, review moments where attention was diverted unnecessarily and analyze triggers. Identify actionable strategies to reduce similar distractions in the future. Reflection transforms experience into learning, reinforces discipline, and improves the mind's capacity to sustain clarity and energy consistently. Engaging in deep work increases the ability to resist minor distractions. Extended periods of focused activity develop concentration muscles, training the mind to stay engaged with complex or demanding tasks. Deep work enhances mental stamina, reduces susceptibility to interruptions, and strengthens cognitive control. The practice of sustained focus improves efficiency, creativity, and clarity across multiple areas of life. Environmental design supports uninterrupted focus. Arrange physical and digital spaces to minimize stimuli that compete for attention. Remove clutter, organize tools, and control access to potentially distracting devices or information. A well-structured environment naturally encourages sustained concentration and conserves mental energy for high-priority activities. Internal motivation reinforces resistance to distractions. When goals are meaningful and compelling, the mind naturally prioritizes effort and focus over interruptions. Connection to purpose strengthens determination and reduces the appeal of trivial diversions. Motivation aligned with personal values and objectives ensures that mental energy is invested where it has the greatest impact. Regular breaks optimize mental energy. Sustained attention without pause leads to cognitive fatigue, reducing both clarity and focus. Strategic breaks allow the mind to recover, restore energy, and return to tasks with renewed concentration. Properly timed rest supports resilience against distractions and maintains performance throughout extended periods of work or challenge. The elimination of distractions is not a single action but a disciplined practice integrated into daily life. Awareness, structured routines, environmental control, mindful focus, prioritization, and reflection collectively preserve mental energy and strengthen clarity. Each deliberate choice to minimize interruptions builds a mind capable of sustained concentration, efficient action, and consistent achievement. When distractions are consciously managed, the mind becomes a powerful instrument capable of facing challenges with focus, resilience, and effectiveness in every aspect of life. Chapter 100: Strengthen your emotions by observing them without judgment. Emotions are powerful forces that shape behavior, decisions, and mental clarity. They can either strengthen resilience or weaken focus depending on how they are managed. Most people experience emotions passively, reacting automatically to whatever arises. Strengthening emotional control does not mean suppressing feelings or pretending they do not exist. It means observing them fully and without judgment, creating the ability to respond intentionally rather than reacting impulsively. Observing emotions without judgment allows the mind to remain clear, energy to remain stable, and actions to align with long-term objectives. The first step in strengthening emotional control is awareness. Pay close attention to the sensations, thoughts, and impulses that accompany each emotion. Notice where tension arises in the body, the speed of your heart, the tone of internal dialogue, or changes in breathing. Observing these patterns objectively provides insight into how emotions manifest and prepares the mind to respond thoughtfully. Awareness is the foundation for building emotional strength because it allows emotions to be recognized before they dictate behavior. Labeling emotions enhances clarity and control. Name what you are experiencing, whether it is anger, frustration, disappointment, excitement, or fear. Identifying emotions reduces their intensity because it moves the mind from automatic reaction to conscious recognition. When an emotion is acknowledged with a clear label, It becomes easier to assess its source and decide how to respond constructively. Naming feelings is a practical tool that strengthens the mind's ability to navigate emotional states without being overwhelmed. Separating observation from evaluation is essential. Many people judge themselves for feeling a certain way, labeling emotions as good or bad. This judgment amplifies stress and creates unnecessary resistance. Simply noticing emotions without attaching value to them allows the mind to process experiences without distortion. Observing without judgment develops resilience because it encourages acceptance and understanding of emotions rather than denial or suppression. Breathing practices support emotional observation. Deep, steady breathing helps anchor the mind in the present moment and reduces physiological responses associated with intense emotions. When anger or anxiety arises, focusing on breath slows the nervous system and provides space to process the emotion calmly. Conscious breathing enhances awareness, strengthens mental clarity, and allows emotions to be experienced fully without hijacking attention or energy. Mindfulness exercises are powerful tools for observing emotions. Sit quietly and notice feelings as they appear. Allow them to exist without attempting to change or resist them. Observe the intensity, location in the body, and thought patterns associated with each emotion. Regular mindfulness practice trains the mind to remain present with emotional experiences, reducing impulsive reactions and building stability in the face of challenging circumstances. Journaling emotions creates structure and insight. Writing down feelings, triggers, and responses provides clarity and allows reflection. This externalization of emotions reduces mental clutter and facilitates constructive analysis. Journaling reinforces the habit of observing without judgment and allows patterns to emerge, highlighting areas for growth and adjustment. By reviewing these records, the mind learns to anticipate responses and handle similar situations more effectively in the future. Reframing emotional experiences strengthens resilience. After observing an emotion without judgment, consider what it might reveal about needs, values, or priorities. Emotions are signals, not directives. Understanding their message without allowing them to dictate behavior creates a foundation for intentional decision-making. Reframing transforms potentially disruptive feelings into opportunities for insight and constructive action. Regular reflection enhances emotional intelligence. Review situations where strong emotions arose and analyze responses. Evaluate whether actions were guided by observation or reaction. Identify opportunities for improvement and strategies for future encounters. Reflection deepens understanding, strengthens emotional stability, and enhances the ability to remain calm and purposeful under pressure. Emotional detachment is not the goal. Emotional strength comes from full engagement with feelings while maintaining clarity. Experiencing emotions fully without being controlled by them allows the mind to make rational choices even in stressful situations. Emotional strength ensures energy is preserved for effective action and sustained focus rather than being consumed by impulsive responses or regret. Consistent practice builds neural pathways that reinforce emotional regulation. The more often emotions are observed without judgment, the more natural the process becomes. This repeated practice increases tolerance for intensity, reduces overreaction, and strengthens the ability to remain grounded regardless of external events. Over time, emotional control becomes instinctive, providing stability, clarity, and resilience in every situation. Emotional awareness enhances interpersonal relationships. Recognizing emotions within oneself allows for better understanding of others. Responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively reduces conflict and promotes constructive communication. The ability to maintain composure while empathizing with others strengthens connections, improves collaboration, and reduces unnecessary stress in social interactions. Body awareness complements emotional observation. Emotions often manifest physically before they are consciously recognized. Noticing tension, posture changes, or changes in breathing allows early detection and response. Engaging in stretching, light movement, or grounding exercises supports the mind in processing feelings effectively. Physical awareness reinforces the capacity to observe emotions without being overwhelmed. Detaching from reactive patterns prevents habitual responses. Emotions often trigger automatic behaviors learned over time. By observing these patterns, the mind gains the ability to pause, evaluate, and choose a more constructive course of action. Awareness of habitual reactions provides freedom to act deliberately, strengthening mental control and emotional resilience. Practicing self-compassion supports emotional observation. Avoid harsh judgment for feeling strong emotions or responding imperfectly. Treating yourself with understanding encourages openness, reduces resistance, and facilitates honest recognition of feelings. Self-compassion enhances clarity, reduces internal conflict, and builds a stable foundation for consistent emotional management. Focus on the present moment enhances emotional clarity. Emotions often intensify when attention drifts to past regrets or future anxieties. Anchoring awareness in current experiences allows emotions to be experienced fully without unnecessary amplification. Present moment focus improves clarity, reduces stress, and allows intentional responses that align with personal goals and values. Integrating observation into decision-making strengthens both emotional and cognitive outcomes. After noticing emotions, assess whether they are informing or distorting judgment. Separate impulses from rational choice. This process allows decisions to be guided by insight rather than reaction, preserving energy and focus while responding effectively to challenges. Gradual exposure to emotionally challenging situations builds tolerance. Facing discomfort while observing feelings without judgment strengthens resilience. Each encounter reinforces the mind's capacity to remain grounded, improving both confidence and composure over time. Consistent exposure teaches that emotions can be experienced without loss of control, which enhances overall mental stability. Reflection on triggers and patterns increases self-knowledge. Identify recurring emotional responses and situations that intensify feelings. Understanding patterns allows preemptive strategies to maintain calm and clarity. The mind becomes proactive rather than reactive, which strengthens resilience, reduces stress, and enhances the ability to navigate challenges with intentional action. Emotional observation enhances problem-solving under pressure. When emotions are recognized and managed, mental clarity improves, attention is directed toward actionable solutions, and impulsive reactions are minimized. The capacity to remain composed in the presence of strong feelings allows the mind to operate efficiently, generating constructive outcomes even in difficult circumstances. Daily practice of observing emotions without judgment cultivates a mindset of resilience, stability, and awareness. It transforms reactions into intentional responses, strengthens clarity, and preserves energy. By consistently applying these techniques, the mind develops the ability to navigate stress, challenges, and interpersonal dynamics with composure and effectiveness. Emotional strength becomes a natural part of daily life, ensuring that decisions, actions, and focus remain aligned with long-term objectives regardless of circumstances. Chapter 11. Visualize success to program your mind for consistent action. Visualization is a powerful tool that allows the mind to experience success before it happens, creating a roadmap for consistent action. The process begins with imagining desired outcomes in precise and concrete detail. Mental rehearsal primes the brain to recognize opportunities, anticipate challenges, and act confidently toward goals. Visualization is not daydreaming, it is a deliberate, structured practice that strengthens focus, builds motivation, and programs behavior toward effective execution. When the mind repeatedly experiences success internally, it develops familiarity with the steps, decisions, and mindset required to achieve it in reality. Start by defining what success looks like in a specific area of your life. The clearer the image, the more effective the visualization becomes. Identify measurable markers of progress, emotional responses associated with achievement, and actions that contribute directly to the outcome. The mind responds to precise imagery by aligning attention, planning, and energy toward reproducing that scenario in real life. The act of repeatedly visualizing success strengthens confidence, reduces doubt, and clarifies the path forward. Visualization is most effective when paired with emotion. Imagine not only the tangible results of success, but also the feelings that accompany it. Feel the pride, satisfaction, calm, or excitement that arises from achieving objectives. Emotional engagement intensifies neural patterns in the brain, reinforcing the association between effort and reward. By connecting emotion to mental rehearsal, the mind is motivated to act consistently as the imagined experience becomes compelling and tangible. Integrating all senses into visualization increases realism and effectiveness. Picture the environment where success takes place, notice sounds, textures, and movements, and consider the reactions of people involved. Engaging multiple senses activates more areas of the brain, creating a more vivid and convincing internal experience. This multisensory approach strengthens mental programming, making it easier to respond with clarity and focus when facing real-world challenges. Regular practice enhances the benefits of visualization. Daily mental rehearsal, even for a few minutes, reinforces neural pathways and builds familiarity with the actions and decisions that lead to success. Repetition strengthens confidence, reduces hesitation, and creates automatic readiness for consistent action. A disciplined approach to visualization embeds the desired outcome into the mind's framework, aligning thought, emotion, and behavior toward achievement. Visualization also prepares the mind for obstacles. Imagine potential challenges, mistakes, and distractions that could arise while pursuing goals. Mentally rehearse effective responses and solutions. This proactive approach reduces fear, increases problem-solving capacity, and ensures that reactions remain measured and purposeful when difficulties occur. Anticipating hurdles mentally primes the mind for resilience and continuous action under pressure. Mental rehearsal encourages strategic thinking. By repeatedly visualizing success, the brain evaluates the steps required, prioritizes actions, and identifies potential pitfalls. This process improves decision-making because the mind has rehearsed multiple scenarios, creating readiness for practical execution. Visualization strengthens the ability to focus on what is actionable, reducing uncertainty and preventing energy from being wasted on distractions or unnecessary concerns. Visualization reinforces commitment to goals. When the mind frequently experiences success internally, motivation to act consistently increases. Imagined accomplishment becomes a mental anchor that sustains effort even during challenges. The clarity gained from seeing the path forward reduces indecision, strengthens discipline, and builds momentum, making it more likely that actions align with objectives each day. Combining visualization with planning enhances effectiveness. After mentally rehearsing success, outline the steps required to translate the image into reality. Set specific objectives, deadlines, and routines based on the visualized scenario. The mind integrates the internal experience with external action, ensuring that focus, energy, and behavior are aligned with long-term objectives. This integration transforms visualization from a passive exercise into an active tool for consistent achievement. Visualization strengthens confidence in abilities. Mental rehearsal allows the brain to experience competence and success repeatedly, reducing self-doubt and fear of failure. This internal reinforcement encourages the mind to approach tasks with assurance and composure. Confidence cultivated through visualization supports consistent action, enabling the individual to maintain progress even when challenges seem daunting or progress is slow. Using visualization to overcome procrastination is highly effective. Mentally imagining completing tasks successfully reduces resistance and increases readiness to start. When the mind experiences the positive outcome before beginning, the mental barrier of initiation is lowered. Visualization programs behavior toward immediate action and encourages persistence until objectives are met. Anchoring visualization to daily routines strengthens habit formation. Integrate brief sessions of mental rehearsal into morning routines, breaks, or evenings. Consistency ensures that the mind remains connected to goals and prepares for daily challenges. Regular engagement with mental imagery reinforces focus, enhances clarity, and builds sustained momentum toward achieving objectives over time. Visualization improves emotional regulation. Mentally rehearsing success under various scenarios prepares the mind for high-pressure situations. By imagining challenges and responding calmly within the visualization, the mind becomes accustomed to maintaining composure, reducing impulsive reactions, and remaining deliberate in decision-making. Emotional resilience developed through visualization supports consistent action and mental clarity. Pairing visualization with affirmations amplifies impact. Verbalizing positive statements about the desired outcome while mentally experiencing success reinforces neural pathways. This combination strengthens belief in abilities, aligns mindset with objectives, and encourages daily actions consistent with achieving goals. Affirmations serve as reminders of potential, reinforcing commitment and confidence. Visualization enhances problem-solving and adaptability. By mentally simulating different approaches to obstacles, the mind can identify effective strategies without the risk of failure. This rehearsal creates a flexible mental framework, enabling faster adaptation when unexpected challenges arise. Clarity and efficiency in decision-making increase because the brain has already practiced evaluating options and responding appropriately. Visualizing long-term outcomes strengthens persistence. Imagining success across extended timelines reinforces commitment to sustained effort, even when immediate results are not visible. Mental rehearsal emphasizes the cumulative impact of consistent actions, motivating perseverance and preventing discouragement during periods of slow progress. The mind remains focused on the bigger picture while managing daily tasks effectively. Visualization improves focus under distraction. Mentally rehearsing success trains attention to remain fixed on objectives despite interruptions or competing stimuli. The repeated practice of holding a detailed mental image strengthens concentration and reduces susceptibility to external distractions. Mental energy is preserved for meaningful effort rather than being depleted by fragmented attention. Incorporating visualization into teamwork enhances collaboration. Mentally rehearsing desired group outcomes and effective communication strengthens coordination and reduces misunderstandings. Shared focus on clear objectives improves alignment, productivity, and collective resilience. Visualization primes individuals to act consistently and harmoniously in pursuit of shared goals, increasing overall effectiveness. Visualization reinforces self-discipline. By repeatedly experiencing success and its associated steps mentally, the mind becomes conditioned to follow through with actions even when motivation fluctuates. This internal rehearsal strengthens willpower, reduces procrastination, and supports the formation of productive routines. Mental programming through visualization ensures that action is consistent, deliberate, and aligned with personal objectives. Visualization also deepens self-awareness. By reflecting on imagined scenarios, the mind recognizes strengths, weaknesses, and potential areas for growth. This awareness guides learning, adaptation, and skill development. Understanding personal tendencies and responses within the context of success allows for targeted improvement, enhancing overall effectiveness and resilience in real-world challenges. The disciplined practice of visualization creates a mind primed for consistent action, mental clarity, and resilience. It transforms intention into tangible effort, strengthens confidence, and prepares the brain to respond effectively to challenges. Visualization bridges the gap between imagination and reality, programming thought, emotion, and behavior toward measurable achievement. By integrating this practice into daily life, consistent progress becomes natural, focus is sharpened, and the ability to act decisively under pressure is reinforced, allowing success to be realized steadily and reliably. Chapter 12. Take responsibility for your reactions in every challenging situation. Taking responsibility for your reactions is one of the most powerful ways to maintain control over your life and mindset. Life is full of situations beyond your control, but your response to them is entirely within your power. When you choose to own your reactions, you stop giving external circumstances the ability to dictate your emotional state. Accepting responsibility begins with awareness. Notice how you respond to frustration, disappointment, criticism, or unexpected obstacles. Observing your behavior without self-judgment provides insight into habitual reactions that may be unproductive or harmful. Awareness is the first step toward change because it allows you to intervene intentionally rather than respond automatically. Every challenging situation offers a choice: react impulsively or respond thoughtfully. Immediate emotional reactions often amplify stress and create consequences that are difficult to reverse. When you pause before reacting, you gain the ability to assess the situation objectively. This moment of pause allows the mind to evaluate priorities, consider outcomes, and select a response aligned with long-term goals and values. Responding intentionally rather than reacting impulsively strengthens resilience, mental clarity, and personal accountability. Emotional ownership is essential to this process. Recognize that your feelings are your responsibility, not the fault of external circumstances or other people. Blaming others for your emotional state removes power from your hands and creates dependency on factors beyond your control. Accepting ownership of your reactions empowers you to make choices that serve your goals, preserve mental energy, and maintain composure under pressure. Emotional responsibility transforms adversity into an opportunity for personal growth. Self-reflection reinforces accountability. After facing a challenging situation, review how you reacted, evaluate what worked, what could have been handled differently, and what triggered unhelpful responses. Reflection provides valuable feedback, allowing for incremental improvement over time. By consistently analyzing reactions, you develop greater self-awareness and a deeper understanding of the mechanisms behind your behavior. This ongoing self-assessment strengthens control over future responses. Mindset plays a central role in taking responsibility. Approach challenges with the belief that your reactions define your experience, not external events. Viewing situations through this lens encourages proactive engagement rather than passive suffering. A mindset grounded in personal accountability increases confidence, reduces stress, and enhances the ability to navigate difficult circumstances with composure and clarity. Techniques for managing immediate reactions improve effectiveness. Deep breathing, brief pauses, or stepping away from a stressful environment provides space to process emotions before responding. These practices prevent impulsive behavior and allow the mind to select a response aligned with goals and values. Over time, these strategies become habitual, making deliberate responses the default rather than the exception. Reframing challenges strengthens responsibility. Instead of viewing obstacles as threats or unfair burdens, see them as opportunities to exercise control over your reactions. Every difficulty becomes a training ground for mental resilience, emotional regulation, and disciplined decision-making. Reframing encourages proactive thinking and reinforces the principle that your reaction is always within your power, regardless of external conditions. Consistent practice builds neural pathways that reinforce responsible behavior. Each time you choose a thoughtful response instead of an impulsive reaction, the brain strengthens patterns associated with self-control, emotional intelligence, and deliberate action. Over time, this repetition makes intentional reactions more natural and instinctive, reducing the likelihood of being hijacked by stress or emotion. Language and internal dialogue affect how responsibility is taken. Replace statements like, "They made me angry," with, "I choose how to respond to this situation." Language shapes perception, and using empowering statements reinforces the mindset of accountability. When the mind frames experiences in terms of personal choice, it strengthens clarity, focus, and control over emotional and behavioral outcomes. Preparation enhances the ability to respond responsibly. Anticipate situations that typically trigger strong reactions and mentally rehearse effective responses. This proactive approach equips the mind to handle challenges with composure and reduces the likelihood of reactive behavior. Preparation ensures that responsibility becomes habitual rather than situational, reinforcing mental stability and consistent performance. Setting personal standards supports accountability. Define the principles that guide your behavior, such as patience, calmness, honesty, and clarity. When reactions are measured against these standards, the mind evaluates responses in real time, creating a consistent framework for behavior. Standards provide a reference point for self-assessment and strengthen discipline, ensuring reactions align with long-term objectives. Boundaries are crucial to responsible reactions. Recognize situations or individuals that push emotional buttons and establish limits that protect mental energy. Clear boundaries reduce unnecessary stress, prevent impulsive responses, and allow the mind to maintain focus on productive actions. Taking responsibility includes managing circumstances in a way that preserves clarity and control without avoiding accountability. Accepting consequences reinforces responsibility. When actions produce outcomes, acknowledge them honestly without deflection or blame. Facing the results of your responses strengthens character, builds credibility, and creates learning opportunities. Understanding that every reaction has consequences encourages careful thought and reinforces the habit of responding intentionally rather than reacting unconsciously. Accountability partners amplify growth. Sharing challenges with trusted individuals who provide feedback and perspective helps identify blind spots in responses. External observation reinforces internal awareness and motivates improvement. Accountability partners encourage discipline, provide support during setbacks, and highlight patterns that may otherwise go unnoticed, strengthening consistent, responsible behavior. Mindfulness under pressure cultivates ownership. Practicing present moment awareness during stressful situations allows recognition of emotional and physical cues before acting. Mindful attention prevents automatic responses and encourages deliberate selection of behavior aligned with goals. Mindfulness reinforces the principle that responsibility begins with conscious awareness, empowering the mind to act with control and integrity. Patience is a key component of responsible reactions. Immediate responses are often colored by emotion and can create regret. Deliberate pausing and allowing time for reflection fosters thoughtful action. Patience strengthens clarity, reduces impulsivity, and ensures that responses are measured, intentional, and aligned with personal standards and objectives. Learning from mistakes enhances accountability. When reactions are misaligned with goals, analyze the causes without self-criticism. Identify triggers, evaluate alternative strategies, and integrate lessons into future behavior. Viewing mistakes as feedback rather than failure reinforces responsibility and encourages continuous improvement. Every challenge becomes a chance to refine responses and strengthen resilience. Consistency in taking responsibility transforms behavior over time. The more often reactions are owned, analyzed, and adjusted, the more instinctive, responsible behavior becomes. Consistent practice creates a foundation for emotional stability, mental clarity, and disciplined decision-making that remains reliable even under high stress or adversity. Understanding the link between thoughts, emotions, and reactions empowers intentional control. Reactions are shaped by internal interpretation of events. By influencing thought patterns and emotional responses, the mind gains the ability to select constructive behaviors consistently. Strengthening this connection reinforces accountability and ensures that reactions support long-term objectives rather than undermine them. Taking responsibility is a continuous practice, not a single choice. Each moment presents opportunities to exercise control over responses. Awareness, reflection, preparation, mindfulness, and consistent application reinforce the habit of intentional action. By owning reactions, the mind preserves clarity, energy, and focus, allowing challenges to become opportunities for growth, resilience, and consistent progress toward personal goals. Chapter 13: Cultivate patience to endure obstacles without losing momentum. Patience is one of the most underrated yet powerful tools for navigating life's challenges. It allows the mind to remain steady, the body to maintain energy, and the spirit to continue progressing even when circumstances seem slow, difficult, or unfair. Cultivating patience is not about passive waiting, it is about active endurance, maintaining focus, and sustaining effort toward long-term objectives despite temporary setbacks. Life inevitably presents obstacles, delays, and frustrations, and the ability to respond with patience rather than frustration or haste determines whether progress continues or falters. The first step in cultivating patience is understanding that obstacles are a natural part of life and growth. No worthwhile endeavor progresses smoothly without resistance. Accepting this reality mentally reduces anxiety and prepares the mind for consistent effort. Patience emerges from recognizing that delays, challenges, and difficulties are not signs of failure, but opportunities to practice resilience and refine strategy. When obstacles are viewed as part of the journey rather than interruptions, maintaining momentum becomes possible. Awareness of emotional triggers is essential for developing patience. Frustration, anger, or anxiety often arise when expectations clash with reality. By observing these reactions, the mind can intervene before acting impulsively. Identifying the moments when impatience arises allows the development of strategies to respond deliberately, maintaining energy and focus. Awareness transforms reactive behavior into intentional endurance. Breathing and grounding techniques support patience in real time. When delays or setbacks provoke agitation, consciously slowing the breath and focusing on the present moment calms the nervous system. This physiological response reinforces mental composure, allowing the mind to continue pursuing objectives without distraction from temporary discomfort. Regular practice of these techniques trains the mind to remain steady under stress. Breaking larger challenges into smaller, manageable steps reinforces patience. Long-term goals can feel overwhelming, creating tension and a desire for rapid results. By dividing tasks into incremental actions, progress becomes measurable and the mind experiences regular reinforcement. Completing each step builds momentum, sustaining motivation and making patience a natural companion rather than a forced effort. Reframing setbacks is a key component of enduring obstacles without losing momentum. Instead of seeing delays as failures or injustices, view them as information and feedback. Every difficulty reveals aspects of strategy, skill, or planning that can be improved. Reframing maintains engagement, encourages learning, and reduces the emotional drain that accompanies frustration. Patience grows when challenges are understood as guidance rather than punishment. Consistency strengthens patient endurance. Daily routines, habits, and disciplined practices reinforce the ability to continue despite difficulties. Consistency reduces the mind's tendency to be swayed by short-term discomfort, reinforcing long-term focus. Each repeated effort, even when progress feels slow, builds confidence and establishes momentum that carries through more significant obstacles. Visualization enhances patience by creating mental experience of eventual success. Imagine achieving objectives despite delays, resistance, or challenges. Mentally rehearsing success instills confidence that effort will be rewarded, reinforcing calm perseverance in the face of uncertainty. Visualization bridges the gap between present difficulty and future accomplishment, sustaining motivation and focus. Mindset matters deeply in cultivating patience. Approach challenges with the understanding that time and effort are integral to meaningful achievement. Impatience often stems from unrealistic expectations of immediate results. Adjusting expectations to match reality allows the mind to endure delays and maintain progress without emotional depletion. Patience flourishes when the mind trusts in process over instant outcomes. Self-talk influences endurance. Replace statements like, "This is too hard," or "I can't handle this," with affirmations such as "I am capable of sustaining effort," or "Every step moves me forward." Positive self-talk strengthens resilience, reduces frustration, and encourages calm, consistent action. Mental reinforcement through deliberate language supports patience and sustained momentum. Practicing delayed gratification develops long-term endurance. Choosing consistent effort over immediate comfort trains the mind to tolerate temporary discomfort for the sake of lasting results. Each time the choice is made to persist rather than quit, patience strengthens and the capacity to endure future obstacles increases. Delayed gratification reinforces the principle that persistence, not speed, determines success. Learning to detach from outcomes while maintaining effort enhances patience. Focusing exclusively on results can increase stress and decrease perseverance when progress is slow. Instead, concentrate on the process, the effort applied, and the incremental steps taken each day. Detachment allows the mind to remain engaged without being overwhelmed by frustration over what has not yet occurred. Observation of progress reinforces patient endurance. Tracking incremental achievements, even small ones, provides tangible evidence of advancement. This recognition supports motivation, reduces discouragement, and sustains momentum despite obstacles. Noticing improvement reinforces the value of continued effort and strengthens the mind's capacity to endure longer challenges with composure. Developing empathy for oneself during difficult times encourages patience. Recognize that setbacks, errors, and delays are part of growth. Avoid self-criticism or harsh judgment when progress is slower than expected. Self-compassion reduces emotional resistance, preserves energy, and fosters sustained focus on actions that contribute to long-term goals. Physical health supports mental patience. Fatigue, hunger, or poor rest increases irritability and reduces the ability to endure challenges calmly. Prioritizing sleep, nutrition, and movement provides the body and mind with the energy needed to sustain effort and maintain composure in stressful situations. Mental endurance is deeply connected to physical well-being. Learning from others' experiences strengthens patience. Observe how mentors, colleagues, or historical figures have endured prolonged difficulties. Their strategies, mindset, and discipline provide models for navigating obstacles effectively. Applying lessons learned externally enhances one's own capacity to remain steady, focused, and consistent in effort. Setting realistic timelines reduces the pressure that undermines patience. Unrealistic deadlines create stress and trigger impatience when obstacles occur. Evaluating tasks and establishing achievable schedules allows for steady progress and prevents mental fatigue caused by rushing or overextension. Structured planning reinforces endurance and sustained momentum. Mindful attention supports patient perseverance. Focusing fully on the present task, rather than worrying about the total journey, improves efficiency and reduces emotional strain. Mindful engagement allows the mind to conserve energy and maintain focus and continue consistent action despite challenges or delays. Rewarding consistent effort reinforces patient behavior. Acknowledge progress, celebrate small wins, and recognize commitment to process rather than outcome alone. Positive reinforcement strengthens the habit of enduring obstacles and encourages continued engagement with the work, sustaining momentum over time. Reflection strengthens patience by identifying patterns and triggers that challenge endurance. After difficult periods, review what caused impatience, how it was managed, and what strategies can be improved. Learning from these observations enhances the mind's ability to maintain calm and consistent action during future obstacles. Patience is cultivated through repetition and intentional practice. The combination of awareness, reframing, consistent effort, process focus, self-compassion, and strategic preparation strengthens the ability to endure challenges without losing momentum. Over time, patience becomes instinctive, mental energy is preserved, and obstacles no longer derail progress. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to reinforce resilience, maintain clarity, and continue moving toward meaningful objectives with unwavering determination. Chapter 14. Seek learning opportunities even in life's toughest moments. Life's toughest moments often arrive without warning. They interrupt routines, shake confidence, and test emotional strength. In these moments, it is easy to focus only on pain, loss, or confusion. Yet within every difficult experience, there is information waiting to be noticed. Growth does not begin after hardship ends. It begins inside the hardship itself. Seeking learning opportunities during challenging times is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about choosing awareness over avoidance and curiosity over despair. When circumstances feel heavy, the mind naturally asks, "Why is this happening to me?" That question often leads to frustration and mental exhaustion. A more useful shift is asking, "What is this moment trying to show me?" This does not deny difficulty. It redirects attention toward understanding. Learning begins the moment attention changes direction. Instead of fighting reality, the mind starts working with it. Hard experiences reveal patterns that comfort never exposes. They show how you react under pressure, how you speak to yourself when things go wrong, and where emotional weaknesses exist. These insights are valuable because they highlight areas that need strengthening. Without difficulty, these areas remain hidden. Tough moments act like mirrors, reflecting habits and beliefs that shape future outcomes. Pain sharpens awareness. When something matters deeply, the mind becomes alert. Emotions intensify perception, making lessons clearer and more memorable. What is learned during struggle tends to stay longer because it is connected to strong feeling. This makes difficult periods powerful teachers when approached with openness rather than resistance. Learning during hardship does not require big realizations. It often begins with small observations. Notice what drains energy and what restores it. Pay attention to which thoughts create calm and which increase tension. Observe how certain responses lead to better outcomes than others. These small lessons compound over time, gradually reshaping behavior and mindset. One of the most important lessons hardship offers is clarity about priorities. When life becomes difficult, unnecessary concerns lose importance. What truly matters rises to the surface. Relationships, health, values, and inner stability become clearer. This clarity helps guide future decisions and prevents energy from being wasted on distractions that do not serve long-term well-being. Challenges also teach adaptability. When familiar methods stop working, the mind is forced to explore alternatives. This flexibility strengthens problem-solving skills and builds confidence in handling uncertainty. Each adjustment becomes evidence that growth is possible even when plans collapse. Adaptability learned through struggle becomes a lifelong asset. Emotional intelligence often develops fastest during difficult times. Navigating disappointment, fear, or loss requires awareness and regulation. By observing emotions instead of being controlled by them, understanding deepens. Learning how emotions rise, peak, and settle teaches patience and self-trust. Over time, this awareness creates stability that remains even when circumstances change. Hard moments also reveal resilience. Many people underestimate their capacity to endure until life demands endurance. Each challenge survived becomes proof of inner strength. Recognizing this strength shifts self-image from fragile to capable. That shift influences future actions, encouraging courage rather than avoidance. Mistakes made during difficult periods are powerful teachers. They highlight limits of knowledge or preparation. Instead of carrying shame, examine them for information. What could be done differently next time? What skill needs development? Treating mistakes as data transforms regret into growth and reduces fear of future attempts. Learning opportunities also appear in how others respond during your struggles. Supportive behavior shows which relationships are dependable. Lack of support clarifies boundaries. These observations help shape healthier connections going forward. Understanding social dynamics during hardship leads to wiser choices about trust and collaboration. Mental habits become visible under stress. Do you rush decisions, freeze, or overthink? Do you seek help or isolate? Each response pattern carries consequences. Identifying these tendencies allows conscious improvement. Awareness creates choice, and choice creates growth. Hardship teaches humility. It reminds the mind that control is limited and that perfection is not required for progress. This humility opens the door to learning from others and accepting guidance. Growth accelerates when pride gives way to curiosity. There is also learning in endurance itself. Staying present through discomfort builds tolerance for uncertainty. This tolerance reduces fear of future challenges. When the mind learns it can remain steady even when outcomes are unclear, confidence increases. Uncertainty becomes manageable rather than paralyzing. Difficult times often slow life down, creating space for reflection. In this slower pace, deeper thinking becomes possible. Questions about direction, purpose, and values surface naturally. Honest reflection during these moments leads to meaningful adjustments that might never occur during comfortable routines. Seeking learning during hardship requires intentional effort. The mind must be trained to pause, observe, and reflect instead of reacting automatically. Writing thoughts down, reviewing experiences, or simply sitting quietly with awareness helps extract lessons. These practices turn experience into wisdom. Learning also comes from recognizing what cannot be changed. Acceptance is a lesson in itself. Understanding limits frees energy that would otherwise be spent resisting reality. That freed energy can be redirected toward actions that are possible and productive. Another powerful lesson from tough moments is compassion. Experiencing difficulty deepens understanding of others' struggles. This empathy improves relationships and communication. Compassion learned through pain strengthens connection and reduces isolation. Hardship teaches patience in a unique way. Progress during difficult periods is often slow and uneven. Learning to continue despite this builds discipline and long-term focus. Patience gained through experience becomes more stable than patience learned through theory. Confidence rooted in experience is stronger than confidence built on success alone. When you learn during struggle, confidence is no longer dependent on things going well. It comes from knowing you can learn, adapt, and grow regardless of circumstances. Every tough moment contains multiple lessons, but they reveal themselves gradually. Rushing to find meaning too quickly can create pressure. Learning unfolds over time. Some lessons become clear immediately, others surface later through reflection. Trusting this process allows understanding to deepen naturally. Choosing to learn during hardship does not remove pain, but it prevents suffering from being wasted. It turns experience into preparation. Each lesson strengthens the foundation for future challenges and opportunities. When life becomes difficult again, the mind remembers previous learning. It responds with more clarity, less panic, and greater confidence. This is how growth compounds. Each challenge becomes training for the next level of responsibility, awareness, and strength. Seeking learning in life's toughest moments transforms adversity into a teacher rather than an enemy. It shifts the focus from survival alone to development. Over time, this approach builds a mindset that does not break under pressure but sharpens, adapts, and evolves. Even in the hardest moments, progress remains possible, not because circumstances improve immediately, but because understanding deepens and inner strength expands. Chapter 15: Anchor yourself in positive routines that reinforce mental strength. Mental strength is not built in rare moments of motivation. It is formed quietly through repeated actions that shape how the mind responds to daily life. When circumstances feel unstable, routines become anchors. They provide structure when emotions fluctuate and direction when clarity fades. Positive routines are not about strict schedules or perfection. They are about consistency, intention, and alignment with values that support inner stability. A routine creates a sense of order. The mind relaxes when it knows what comes next. Uncertainty drains mental energy, while predictability restores it. Simple, repeated actions reduce decision fatigue and free attention for more important challenges. This is why routines are powerful during difficult periods. They keep progress moving even when motivation is low. Positive routines begin with awareness of what strengthens the mind, rather than what merely fills time. Actions that support mental strength often feel ordinary. Waking up at a consistent time, moving the body, eating with care, or taking a few moments of quiet reflection may seem small, but their impact compounds. Each repetition sends a message to the mind that stability exists regardless of external chaos. Morning routines set the tone for the entire day. How the day begins influences focus, emotional control, and energy. A calm and intentional start reduces reactivity. Even a few minutes spent breathing deeply, stretching, or organizing priorities creates a sense of control. This sense of control carries forward, making it easier to handle stress without feeling overwhelmed. Routines also act as commitments to self-respect. Each time a positive habit is honored, trust in oneself grows. This trust strengthens confidence and discipline. The mind learns that promises made internally are kept. Over time, this internal reliability becomes a source of resilience. Mental strength depends on how the mind is fed. Daily exposure to information shapes thought patterns. Choosing what to read, listen to, or watch becomes part of routine. Content that encourages clarity, learning, and calm strengthens focus. Reducing exposure to negativity protects mental energy. This intentional selection trains the mind to remain centered rather than reactive. Physical movement is a powerful routine for mental stability. The mind and body are connected. Regular movement releases tension and improves mood. It also teaches consistency. Movement does not need to be intense to be effective. A daily walk, light exercise, or stretching builds discipline and reinforces the idea that care is taken even on difficult days. Rest is another essential anchor. Mental strength weakens without recovery. Sleep routines protect clarity and emotional balance. Going to bed at a consistent time and creating a calming pre-sleep environment reduces mental noise. Rest is not a reward for productivity, it is a requirement for resilience. Positive routines also include moments of stillness. Silence allows the mind to process experiences instead of carrying them unresolved. Short periods of quiet reflection help release accumulated stress. These moments create space between thoughts and reactions. Over time, this space becomes a source of calm under pressure. Routines reinforce identity. Repeated actions shape self-image. A person who consistently practices focus, care, and discipline begins to see themselves as stable and capable. This identity influences future choices. When identity aligns with strength, decisions naturally support growth. Consistency matters more than intensity. Small routines performed daily outperform ambitious routines followed briefly. Mental strength grows through repetition, not effort spikes. This approach reduces pressure and makes routines sustainable. Sustainability ensures long-term benefit. Evening routines are equally important. They signal closure and preparation. Reflecting on the day, acknowledging effort, and preparing for tomorrow reduces mental clutter. This closure allows the mind to rest fully, improving recovery and readiness. Routines protect against emotional extremes. When emotions run high, routines remain steady. They provide grounding when feelings fluctuate. This stability prevents impulsive reactions and supports balanced responses. Positive routines also teach patience. Results are gradual. This gradual progress builds tolerance for delayed outcomes. Patience strengthens resilience and reduces frustration. Learning to trust the process becomes easier when routines provide daily evidence of effort. Disruptions will happen. Mental strength is not about maintaining routines perfectly, but returning to them quickly. Each return reinforces commitment. This flexibility prevents guilt and maintains momentum. Routines also create momentum. Action leads to action. Completing one small habit increases the likelihood of completing another. This chain reaction builds productive days even when motivation is low. Anchoring to routines reduces dependence on mood. Action becomes independent of emotion. This independence is a core aspect of mental strength. The mind learns that progress continues regardless of how one feels. Routines offer predictability during uncertainty. When external events are uncontrollable, internal actions remain reliable. This reliability restores a sense of agency. Agency strengthens confidence and reduces anxiety. Over time, routines become automatic. Automation conserves mental energy. Less effort is required to maintain positive behaviors. This efficiency allows focus on challenges that truly require attention. Positive routines also support long-term vision. They align daily behavior with future goals. Each routine acts as a small investment in mental health and clarity. These investments accumulate, shaping stronger character. Mental strength is reinforced by how days are structured. Routines shape days, days shape habits, and habits shape identity. Choosing routines carefully is choosing the direction of growth. Anchoring yourself in positive routines does not remove difficulty, but it changes how difficulty is experienced. The mind remains steady even when circumstances shift. This steadiness becomes a foundation for resilience, clarity, and sustained progress. Over time, routines transform from actions into anchors, holding the mind firm while life continues to change. Chapter 16c. Communicate effectively to prevent misunderstandings and unnecessary stress. Communication shapes the quality of daily life more than most people realize. Many forms of stress do not come from events themselves, but from unclear words, unspoken expectations, and emotional reactions that turn simple situations into lasting tension. Learning to communicate effectively is not about sounding impressive or winning arguments. It is about reducing friction, preserving energy, and creating understanding where confusion would otherwise grow. Clear communication begins with clarity inside the mind. When thoughts are scattered, words follow the same pattern. Speaking before understanding one's own position leads to mixed messages and regret. Taking a brief pause before responding allows thoughts to settle. That pause is not weakness. It is discipline. It creates space to choose words that reflect intention rather than impulse. Many misunderstandings happen because people assume others see the world the same way they do. Each person carries different experiences, pressures, and emotional states. Effective communication respects this difference. It avoids assumptions and replaces them with curiosity. Asking simple clarifying questions prevents incorrect conclusions. This habit alone can remove a large portion of unnecessary stress. Listening is the foundation of strong communication. Most people listen with the intent to respond rather than to understand. This creates partial attention and missed meaning. True listening requires presence. It means allowing the other person to finish without interruption and observing tone as well as words. When people feel heard, tension softens. Conversations become cooperative instead of defensive. Words carry emotional weight. The same message can be received differently depending on how it is delivered. A calm tone lowers resistance. A steady pace signals control. Rising volume or rushing speech often triggers emotional reactions in others. Speaking slowly and clearly gives words time to land properly. This simple adjustment can change the entire direction of a conversation. Effective communication also means choosing the right moment. Important discussions held during emotional highs often fail. Stress narrows attention and reduces patience. Waiting for a calmer moment increases the chance of being understood. Timing is a form of respect for both parties involved. Clarity improves when messages are direct. Indirect language creates confusion. Saying what is meant without unnecessary explanation prevents misinterpretation. Directness does not require harshness. It simply means being honest and specific. Vague statements leave room for assumptions that lead to conflict. Emotional control plays a critical role. When emotions take over, words become weapons rather than tools. Learning to recognize rising tension allows intervention before damage occurs. Taking a breath, lowering the voice, or requesting a short break preserves composure. These actions protect relationships and mental stability. Boundaries must be communicated clearly. Unspoken limits invite frustration. When expectations are not expressed, disappointment becomes likely. Stating boundaries calmly and firmly reduces resentment. Boundaries are not demands. They are statements of self-respect. Respectful communication of limits prevents long-term stress. Nonverbal signals also influence understanding. Posture, facial expressions, and eye contact contribute to the message. Open body language invites trust. Defensive posture signals resistance even when words are neutral. Aligning body language with spoken words reinforces clarity. Misunderstandings often escalate because people focus on being right instead of being clear. Effective communication prioritizes resolution over validation. Letting go of the need to prove a point reduces tension. The goal is not victory but understanding. When mistakes happen, addressing them early prevents build-up. Clarifying misunderstandings quickly avoids lingering resentment. A simple explanation can restore balance. Delayed communication allows assumptions to harden into beliefs. Timely correction preserves trust. Language choice matters. Words that blame provoke defensiveness. Words that describe personal experience invite cooperation. Expressing how a situation feels rather than accusing others reduces resistance. This approach maintains accountability while preserving respect. Effective communication also requires patience. Not everyone processes information at the same speed. Allowing time for responses prevents pressure. Silence does not always indicate disagreement. Sometimes it reflects reflection. Comfort with silence strengthens conversations. Technology has increased communication frequency but reduced depth. Messages without tone or context are easily misread. Important topics deserve direct conversation rather than brief text exchanges. Choosing the appropriate medium protects clarity. Communication is a skill developed through practice. Small daily interactions offer opportunities to improve. Each conversation becomes training for emotional control and clarity. Progress comes from awareness rather than perfection. Self-awareness strengthens communication. Recognizing personal triggers reduces reactive responses. Knowing what causes irritation allows preparation. Preparation leads to calm expression rather than emotional discharge. Effective communication reduces mental load. Clear conversations prevent rumination and overthinking. When words are left unsaid, the mind fills gaps with imagined scenarios. Speaking clearly ends this cycle. Respect is the foundation. Speaking with respect maintains dignity on both sides. Even disagreement can be handled without hostility. Respectful language preserves relationships even when opinions differ. Consistency builds trust. Communicating values and expectations consistently removes confusion. Mixed signals create uncertainty. Consistency provides stability and predictability. Over time, effective communication becomes a form of self-discipline. It reflects control over impulses and awareness of impact. This discipline strengthens mental resilience. Stress often decreases when communication improves. Problems become manageable when addressed clearly. Relationships feel safer. The mind rests when interactions are predictable and respectful. Communication is not about control over others. It is about control over self. Choosing words carefully is an act of strength. It reflects mastery of emotion and intention. By practicing clarity, patience, listening, and respect, communication transforms from a source of stress into a tool for stability. Misunderstandings lessen. Emotional energy is preserved. The mind remains calm. Through effective communication, daily life becomes lighter, and challenges become easier to navigate with composure and confidence. Chapter 17a. Reframe failures as feedback to improve future decision-making. Failure carries a heavy emotional charge, because it is often treated as a final judgment rather than a temporary result. When something does not work out, the mind tends to attach meaning to it quickly. That meaning often sounds harsh and personal. It turns an outcome into an identity. This habit creates unnecessary suffering and blocks growth. Learning to reframe failure as feedback changes this pattern at its root. It turns disappointment into direction and regret into information. Every result comes from a series of decisions. When the result is not desired, the value lies in examining those decisions without self-attack. Feedback is neutral. It simply shows what happened under specific conditions. Treating failure as feedback removes emotional distortion and allows clear thinking. Clear thinking is essential for better future decisions. The first step is separating self-worth from outcomes. A failed attempt does not reduce personal value. It only reveals that a method or timing or assumption was ineffective. When self-worth is tied to success, fear increases and risk-taking decreases. Detaching identity from results creates freedom to learn. Emotional reactions are natural, but they do not need to control interpretation. Disappointment, frustration, or embarrassment may appear after failure. Acknowledging these emotions without allowing them to define the situation preserves balance. Once emotions settle, analysis becomes possible. Feedback requires honest observation. What choices led to this outcome? What information was missing? What assumptions proved incorrect? What external factors influenced the result? These questions turn failure into a learning process rather than a punishment. The goal is understanding, not blame. Blame closes the mind. Feedback opens it. Blame focuses on fault. Feedback focuses on adjustment. This shift changes how the brain responds to setbacks. Instead of shutting down, it becomes curious. Curiosity reduces fear and increases resilience. Many people repeat mistakes because they avoid reviewing failures. Avoidance feels protective in the short term but costly in the long term. Ignoring feedback guarantees repetition. Facing it once prevents future losses. Courage appears not in avoiding discomfort but in using it productively. Timing matters when reframing failure. Immediate reflection during emotional intensity often leads to distorted conclusions. Giving the mind time to calm improves accuracy. Once calm, reflection becomes constructive rather than reactive. Language used internally shapes perception. Saying this ruined everything creates finality. Saying this shows what needs adjustment creates possibility. Internal language guides emotional response. Choosing neutral words keeps the mind flexible. Feedback also reveals strengths. Even unsuccessful attempts often contain effective actions worth repeating. Identifying what worked prevents discarding useful behaviors. Balanced reflection includes both errors and successes. Reframing failure improves decision-making by increasing data awareness. Each experience adds information. Decisions improve when based on expanded understanding. Over time, this process sharpens judgment and reduces impulsive choices. Fear of failure often leads to indecision. Indecision is a hidden failure because it produces no data. Action produces feedback. Feedback produces improvement. This cycle requires acceptance of imperfect outcomes. When failure is treated as feedback, persistence increases. Setbacks no longer signal stop. They signal adjust. Adjustment keeps progress alive. This mindset supports long-term goals rather than short-term comfort. Comparisons intensify the pain of failure. Measuring personal progress against others distorts feedback. Each person operates under different conditions. Useful feedback comes from personal experience, not comparison. Reframing also involves examining expectations. Unrealistic expectations create unnecessary failure. Adjusting expectations improves satisfaction and accuracy. Expectations should be challenging but flexible. Feedback is most effective when specific. General conclusions like "I failed" are useless. Specific observations like "this approach lacked preparation" offer guidance. Precision transforms emotion into strategy. Responsibility plays a role. Taking ownership without self-attack empowers change. Blaming circumstances removes control. Accepting influence restores it. Control over decisions is more valuable than comfort. Over time, reframing failure builds confidence. Confidence does not come from avoiding mistakes, but from knowing mistakes can be handled. This confidence supports decisive action even under uncertainty. Failure also exposes priorities. Strong emotional reactions often indicate areas of deep importance. Recognizing this clarifies values. Values guide better future decisions. The habit of reflection should be consistent. Waiting for major failures misses daily learning. Small setbacks offer frequent feedback. Regular review sharpens awareness and prevents accumulation of errors. Reframing does not deny disappointment. It places it in context. Disappointment becomes part of growth rather than evidence of inadequacy. This perspective reduces emotional weight. Learning from failure requires patience. Insights may not appear immediately. Allowing time for understanding prevents forced conclusions. Patience supports accuracy. Over time, this practice reshapes identity. A person who sees failure as feedback becomes adaptable. Adaptability is a form of strength. It allows progress despite uncertainty. Reframing failure also improves emotional regulation. Reduced fear leads to calmer responses. Calm responses lead to better choices. Better choices improve outcomes. This mindset creates resilience. Resilience is not avoidance of failure but recovery through learning. Each recovery strengthens confidence. Feedback-based thinking aligns with long-term growth. It prioritizes improvement over appearance. Appearance seeks approval. Improvement seeks progress. When decisions improve, trust in judgment increases. This trust supports independence and clarity. Decisions become deliberate rather than reactive. Failure loses its power when its meaning changes. It becomes a teacher rather than a threat. Each experience adds clarity rather than doubt. By reframing failures as feedback, the mind stays open, steady, and forward-looking. Mistakes become information. Information becomes wisdom. Wisdom guides better decisions. Through this process, setbacks no longer define limits. They define lessons that support continuous growth and stronger judgment over time. Chapter 18 Surround yourself with supportive people who inspire growth daily. The people closest to you shape how you think, act, and feel more than almost anything else. When daily company is curious, generous, and ambitious, your own ambitions expand naturally. When daily company is cynical, draining, or fearful, energy moves toward avoidance. Choosing who to spend time with is not a casual decision. It is a form of self-care and strategy that compounds across months and years. The right companions will push standards, raise the bar, and offer honest feedback, while also celebrating progress and steady effort. Start by mapping the current social landscape. Make a simple list of the 10 people you spend the most time with and note what each person brings into your life. Mark who gives energy and who takes it away. Identify which relationships provide encouragement, which ones offer constructive criticism, and which ones consistently add stress. This quick inventory reveals patterns that are otherwise invisible because familiarity hides influence. Seeing it on paper makes choices clear and actionable. Actively seek out environments where growth is the norm. Communities form around activities and values, so join groups that match the person you want to become. Attend workshops, network at study groups, enroll in classes, and spend time in spaces where people are practicing improvement. When surrounded by regular practice and the language of progress, that atmosphere becomes contagious and your habits shift without extra willpower. Invite a mentor into your life even if the connection begins small. Mentors do not have to be famous or distant. They are people who have walked a similar path and can point out blind spots. Approach a potential mentor with a clear, small request, such as asking for a 30-minute conversation to review one specific challenge. Most people respond to focused requests, and offering concrete topics respects their time and increases the chance of a helpful ongoing connection. Create a short list of 3 qualities to prioritize in new relationships. Examples include honesty, curiosity, generosity, or accountability. Use those criteria as a filter when deciding who to invest time in. If a person matches 2 or more qualities on your list, consider increasing contact through shared projects or regular check-ins. This focused approach prevents scattering social energy on relationships that do not align with long-term growth. Design a weekly accountability ritual. A short twice-weekly meeting by phone or video with someone who shares similar goals can be transformative. The meeting should be brief, specific, and action-oriented. Each session can follow a 3-part structure: state progress, set 1 priority, and identify any obstacle that requires support. These small conversations produce momentum because they repeatedly redirect attention toward forward movement. Curate social media and digital contact intentionally. Unfollow accounts that promote envy, distraction, or passive comparison. Replace passive scrolling with a few feeds that teach, stretch, or inspire. Narrow the digital noise that seeps into thought patterns. Digital exposure matters because curated content influences mood, decisions, and perceived norms more subtly than face-to-face conversation. Practice reciprocal generosity. Supportive networks thrive when members both give and receive. Offer time, feedback, encouragement, or simple practical help. A willingness to contribute strengthens bonds and encourages others to reciprocate. Reciprocity builds trust, which is the foundation for candid feedback and meaningful growth-oriented interaction. Set clear boundaries around draining relationships. Saying no to repeated negativity is not unkind, it is protective. Describe limits calmly and offer an alternative interaction that preserves dignity. For example, explain that long negative conversations are not helpful and propose a walk or a more constructive topic instead. Boundaries reduce emotional debt and create space for relationships that energize rather than erode effort. Develop the habit of asking for specific feedback. Vague praise and general criticism are less useful than targeted observations. When requesting feedback, ask 2 precise questions, such as what one thing could improve and what one strength should be used more. Specific input accelerates improvement because it pinpoints behavior rather than character. This also trains those around you to be thoughtful and useful contributors to growth. Test new connections through short, shared projects. Collaboration reveals temperament, reliability, and problem-solving style faster than friendly conversation. Propose a manageable, joint task, such as co-organizing a study session, running a small event, or building a simple creative project. Shared work exposes strengths and weaknesses, which helps decide whether to deepen the relationship. Be deliberate about the tone of your conversations. Aim to make interactions solution-focused, constructive, and curious. Model the type of engagement desired by asking honest questions, listening more than speaking, and offering practical suggestions rather than abstract sympathy. People mirror the conversational norms around them. By elevating how you show up, others will often match that level of care and clarity. Recognize and avoid parasitic relationships that repeatedly extract energy. These are connections where requests are constant, but support is absent. Ending or reducing contact with draining people is a strategic move, not a moral failure. Reallocating time toward reliable, encouraging individuals is an investment in daily stamina and long-term momentum. Celebrate progress publicly within your network. When a friend reaches a milestone, acknowledge it sincerely. Public celebration increases group morale and creates an example that effort matters. When achievements are visible, the standard of expected behavior rises and small wins are more likely to be attempted because social recognition reinforces habit. Schedule time each month to expand circles intentionally. Attend one event, meet one new person, or reconnect with someone who models a quality you admire. Monthly expansion keeps relationships fresh and prevents stagnation. Growth-oriented networks renew themselves when new perspectives are regularly invited into the mix. Pay attention to how conversations make you feel physically. Energy shifts often show up in posture, breathing, or muscle tension. If a set of interactions leave posture collapsed or chest tight, make adjustments to time spent. Physical signals are honest early warnings that emotional energy is being taxed and should guide behavior before resentment builds. Learn how to disagree respectfully. Conflict is inevitable, but the skillful handling of disagreement differentiates supportive networks from fractious ones. Speak from observation, not accusation. Describe impact, avoid absolute language, and seek common ground. Healthy disagreement sharpens judgment and strengthens relationships when handled with care. Invest time in people who challenge complacency. Comfort rarely produces improvement. The right companion will question easy assumptions, prompt honest assessment, and push toward practice. Value relationships that cause constructive discomfort, because they are the ones that produce progress rather than comfort. Practice gratitude consistently toward those who support growth. A quick message acknowledging help or a small gesture of appreciation keeps relationships robust. People are more likely to remain engaged when their help is noticed and valued. Gratitude also reinforces internal focus on abundance rather than scarcity within a social context. Measure influence deliberately every quarter. Revisit the list of close contacts, note how each relationship contributed to growth in the previous months, and decide which contacts deserve greater investment. This regular audit prevents drifting and ensures social choices remain aligned with evolving goals. Finally, become the kind of person others want to be around. Honesty, generosity, curiosity, and steady effort attract similar qualities. Investing in personal development creates magnetic relationships because people gravitate toward consistent energy. When reciprocal standards are high, networks become resilient sources of support rather than fragile collections of convenience. Surrounding yourself with people who inspire growth daily is not passive luck. It is an active practice that requires attention, boundaries, and generosity. The cumulative effect of small, consistent social choices is profound. Over time, a carefully cultivated circle becomes a force multiplier for progress, offering encouragement, honest feedback, and practical help every time momentum is needed. Chapter 19c. Prioritize self-care to maintain energy for mental challenges. Mental challenges demand energy, and energy is not endless. When the mind is expected to stay calm, focused, and disciplined without care for the body and emotions, collapse becomes inevitable. Prioritizing self-care is not indulgence or weakness. It is preparation. It is the act of preserving strength so that when pressure arrives, the mind has the resources to respond instead of react. Self-care begins with an honest assessment of energy. Many people plan their days based on time while ignoring capacity. Time may be available, but energy may not be. Mental clarity depends on physical and emotional reserves. Ignoring fatigue leads to poor decisions, emotional outbursts, and reduced resilience. Recognizing limits early prevents long-term exhaustion. Sleep is the foundation. Without proper rest, no mindset strategy holds. Sleep restores attention, emotional balance, and judgment. Treat sleep as a non-negotiable practice. Set consistent sleep and wake times. Reduce stimulation before rest. A rested mind handles difficulty with patience rather than frustration. Sleep is not optional recovery, it is maintenance. Nutrition supports mental endurance. What enters the body influences mood and concentration. Irregular eating patterns and low-quality food drain energy. Choose meals that stabilize rather than spike energy. Regular nourishment reduces irritability and mental fog. Eating with awareness strengthens self-control beyond the table. Movement sustains mental strength. The body releases tension through motion. Sitting for long periods traps stress and dulls focus. Daily movement clears the mind and increases emotional resilience. Movement does not require intensity. Consistency matters more than effort. Even short walks improve clarity and mood. Hydration affects cognition more than most realize. Dehydration reduces concentration and increases fatigue. Simple habits like regular water intake protect mental performance. Small physical adjustments often produce noticeable mental benefits. Self-care includes managing mental input. Constant exposure to noise, information, and demands overloads attention. Schedule moments of quiet. Silence allows the mind to reset. Reducing unnecessary notifications preserves focus. Attention is a limited resource that must be protected deliberately. Emotional self-care requires acknowledgement rather than suppression. Ignored emotions accumulate and surface as stress or anger. Observing emotions without judgment releases their grip. Writing thoughts down or speaking honestly to a trusted person prevents emotional buildup. Emotional clarity supports rational thinking. Boundaries are essential to self-care. Saying yes to everything drains energy. Declining commitments that do not align with priorities preserves strength. Boundaries are not rejection, they are alignment. Protecting energy allows better contribution where it matters. Rest is not limited to sleep. Mental rest includes changing focus. Engaging in simple activities without performance pressure refreshes attention. Reading for pleasure, spending time in nature, or practicing a hobby restores balance. These activities refill mental reserves. Self-care also involves pacing. Continuous effort without breaks leads to diminishing returns. Strategic pauses improve productivity and decision-making. Short breaks during demanding tasks maintain focus and reduce errors. Pacing is a form of discipline. Physical environment affects energy. Clutter drains attention. Order supports calm. Simple organization reduces mental friction. A clean space signals readiness and control. Small environmental changes produce consistent benefits. Self-care requires consistency. Occasional rest cannot compensate for daily neglect. Routine maintenance prevents breakdown. Regular habits sustain energy better than emergency recovery. Mental challenges often trigger self-criticism. Harsh internal dialogue drains energy faster than external stress. Replacing criticism with constructive evaluation preserves motivation. Speaking internally with firmness and respect maintains strength. Self-care is also about recognizing warning signs. Irritability, forgetfulness, and impatience signal depletion. Responding early prevents escalation. Adjusting workload or increasing rest at these signs protects long-term performance. Social energy matters. Interactions that drain energy reduce resilience. Balancing social time with solitude maintains equilibrium. Choosing supportive company strengthens rather than exhausts. Solitude allows recalibration. Self-care does not remove responsibility. It enables responsibility to be carried with steadiness. A cared-for mind performs better under pressure. This performance is sustainable rather than forced. Time spent on self-care repays itself. Improved focus shortens tasks. Emotional stability reduces conflict. Physical energy supports consistency. The return on investment is high. Guilt often blocks self-care. The belief that rest must be earned creates exhaustion. Rest supports effort rather than replaces it. Removing guilt allows full recovery. Mental challenges increase with age, responsibility, and ambition. Preparing for them requires daily maintenance. Waiting until collapse is inefficient and harmful. Self-care strengthens autonomy. Dependence on external motivation decreases when energy is stable. Stability supports independence. Resilience is built through preservation as much as effort. Protecting energy allows challenges to be met with clarity. Without energy, discipline fails. Self-care practices should be simple. Complexity discourages consistency. Choose habits that fit naturally into daily life. Simplicity supports adherence. The mind respects care. When treated with consistency and attention, it responds with focus and calm. Neglect invites chaos. Prioritizing self-care is an act of wisdom. It recognizes limits and works within them. This approach aligns with long-term growth rather than short-term output. Mental challenges will continue to appear. Energy determines response quality. By maintaining physical, emotional, and mental reserves, challenges become manageable rather than overwhelming. Self-care is not a break from growth. It is the condition that allows growth to continue. When energy is protected, the mind remains steady. Steadiness enables clear decisions, disciplined action, and sustained progress through difficulty. Chapter 20. Commit fully to continuous growth regardless of external circumstances. Growth is a decision that must be renewed daily, not a mood that appears when conditions are comfortable. External circumstances change without warning. Some days offer momentum, others resistance. Waiting for the right environment delays progress indefinitely. Committing fully to continuous growth means choosing improvement even when conditions are unfair, unclear, or exhausting. This commitment removes dependency on circumstance and places responsibility where it belongs, within personal control. Many people begin growth when life feels supportive and pause when pressure appears. This pattern creates inconsistency. Growth that depends on comfort collapses under strain. A stronger approach treats difficulty as a normal part of progress. When growth becomes non-negotiable, action continues regardless of outcome. This mindset stabilizes effort and builds inner authority. Commitment starts with clarity of values. Values provide direction when motivation fades. Knowing what matters prevents distraction by short-term discomfort. Values guide decisions even when emotions fluctuate. Writing values down and reviewing them regularly strengthens alignment. Alignment reduces internal conflict and increases consistency. External validation often influences effort. Praise increases energy while criticism drains it. This dependence weakens resolve. Continuous growth requires independence from approval. Improvement becomes personal rather than performative. When effort is internalized, consistency improves because it no longer depends on recognition. Circumstances are often used as explanations for stagnation. Time, resources, and support are common justifications. While constraints exist, they do not eliminate agency. Progress adapts to constraints rather than waits for their removal. Small actions taken consistently overcome limited conditions over time. Growth requires a long-term perspective. Short-term discomfort often discourages effort. Viewing progress as a lifelong process reduces urgency and pressure. This perspective supports patience and persistence. Patience sustains action when results are delayed. Commitment deepens when identity aligns with growth. Seeing oneself as a learner creates openness. Mistakes become information rather than threats. This identity shift stabilizes effort because learning continues regardless of outcome. External events may slow progress but do not invalidate it. Illness, loss, or uncertainty may reduce capacity temporarily. Adjusting pace preserves continuity. Continuity matters more than speed. Maintaining some level of effort prevents disengagement. Discipline anchors growth during emotional fluctuations. Discipline is not force but structure. Simple routines ensure action continues even when motivation is absent. These routines become safeguards against regression. Growth also requires regular reflection. Reflection assesses direction without judgment. Asking whether actions align with values maintains course. Reflection corrects drift early. This habit prevents long periods of misalignment. Resilience strengthens through repeated recommitment. Each recommitment reinforces resolve. Even after setbacks, returning to effort builds confidence. Confidence grows not from success alone but from recovery. External circumstances often test priorities. Stress reveals what is truly valued. Using stress as feedback sharpens focus. When pressure increases, clarity improves if attention is directed inward. Commitment includes accepting responsibility for outcomes. Ownership encourages improvement. Blame weakens agency. Responsibility strengthens it. This shift improves decision quality and accountability. Growth requires humility. Humility allows learning from experience. Arrogance blocks correction. Remaining open to adjustment supports adaptability. Consistency compounds. Small daily actions accumulate. The effect becomes visible over time. This accumulation reinforces belief in the process. Trust in the process sustains commitment. Growth also demands courage. Choosing effort without guarantees requires resolve. Courage appears in continued action despite uncertainty. This courage strengthens character. External stability is unreliable. Internal commitment provides steadiness. This steadiness supports calm decision-making under pressure. Growth requires honesty. Honest evaluation prevents self-deception. Acknowledging weaknesses without shame allows improvement. Denial delays progress. Commitment must be renewed intentionally. Renewal prevents complacency. Periodic recommitment strengthens resolve and direction. Learning should remain active. Reading, practicing, and applying knowledge keeps growth dynamic. Passive consumption creates illusion without change. Application produces results. Growth is personal. Comparing progress to others distorts focus. Personal benchmarks provide accurate feedback. Progress measured against self maintains motivation. External rewards fluctuate. Internal standards remain stable. Holding personal standards ensures consistency. Fatigue will appear. Adjusting effort preserves sustainability. Rest supports longevity. Growth continues through balance. Commitment involves prioritization. Not everything can be pursued simultaneously. Choosing what aligns with values prevents dilution of effort. Growth is not linear. Plateaus occur. Plateaus require patience rather than abandonment. Continued effort eventually produces breakthrough. External chaos often triggers withdrawal. Commitment counters this impulse. Action restores control during uncertainty. Growth builds resilience. Resilience supports future growth. This cycle strengthens over time. Commitment transforms obstacles into training. Each challenge refines skill and judgment. Difficulty becomes a teacher. Consistency reinforces identity. Identity reinforces behavior. This loop stabilizes progress. Growth requires faith in effort. Results may not appear immediately. Trusting effort sustains action. External circumstances do not define capacity. Internal decisions do. Choosing growth expands capacity. Commitment simplifies decisions. When growth is the priority, choices become clearer. Clarity reduces mental strain. Progress accumulates quietly. Daily actions shape long-term outcomes. Patience allows results to emerge. Growth demands focus. Distractions dilute effort. Protecting attention preserves momentum. Commitment strengthens self-respect. Keeping promises to oneself builds trust. Trust fuels confidence. External setbacks test resolve. Resolve grows through response. Each response builds strength. Growth is ongoing. There is no final state. Accepting this removes pressure and fear. Improvement becomes a way of living. Commitment to continuous growth regardless of circumstances creates inner stability. Stability supports clear thinking. Clear thinking guides disciplined action. Disciplined action produces progress. Progress reinforces commitment. This cycle sustains growth through every season of life.